Welcome to TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans by wrestling fans on the web today. I'm John. That's my cohort and commentary Ashton, and this is TWitWoW in review. And yeah, I'm actually excited for this episode because I don't know if the stuff I've even watched from Impact, like the clips, were of this week. I'm assuming some of it was, mainly because of like 5 Fave 5s, and now my 5 Fave 5 other list came out. If you guys missed 5 Fave 5s, please go on the channel and check it out after this is over. My favorite commentary that we do. But between that, I actually did watch several AEW clips this week so I could partake in the conversations. And Stardom had Stardom Supreme Fight early this morning. It was 1 a.m. Saturday morning. Got done, I want to say, a little after 5. And yeah, some news came out from Stardom that I think will be worthwhile to talk about into it while in review. So this should be a pretty meaty one. I'm feeling pretty good about it. And the Bloodline storyline, I mean, it's kind of going where we thought it would, but in this case, predictability isn't a bad thing. Still some really good stuff there. So Ashton, how are you feeling about everything? How are you feeling about this week in wrestling?
I would say generally pretty positive for the most part. There was one match that I was hoping would happen this past week that didn't at all. That apparently is now going to be happening on Dynamite, which is an upgrade from what I thought was happening because I thought that it was supposed to happen last night on Rampage. So, getting sort of in my mind an upgrade from Rampage to Dynamite is never a bad thing. Although the downside here is that I don't get to talk about it on this show because it didn't happen this week. But now I'll get to talk about it on next week's show, and maybe you even will too, because maybe you'll want to tune in for it as well.
Possibly. We will have to see about that.
Yep.
Let's begin actually with Stardom. Stardom had again Supreme Fight this morning. We know that Kamitani is now the record holder for most Wonder of Stardom title defenses. Shame of it is the match was pretty. I mean, towards the end, kind of meh. The 450 looked kind of shit for her to get the retention.
Well, the thing about the
I really
450 was it looked just fine until she landed in the wrong spot. She would have basically landed on Momo's legs, but Momo got her one knee up, kind of, and made it look like it maybe was supposed to be like, oh, she got her knees up, the match is going to continue, but then she just pinned her and it was over. Like, that was just it.
I will say, thinking back on the match all this time later, I think Momo kind of reminded people how good she is. Like, I really do want to say about Momo personally, like, it just kind of proves that the moment you want to push her again, or anytime Stardom would want to take her seriously again, it's really not as much work as you might think it is. Because I really thought she came off so well here. That one spot where she was just roundhouse kicking Kamitani over and over again, I thought was really nice. A lot of Momo stuff looks clean as shit. I think she's the consummate pro. I think she's a genius in there. Um, and now Kamitani's the record holder. I will say, particularly where you and I watch these pay-per-views, I really don't like the negative reception that Kamitani gets. I do think, by and large, a lot of the fandom is pretty hard on her. And I get being critical of somebody when you know they're being groomed for a top spot because you
I mean, I
want them
will
to
say, I think
succeed.
that's pretty. I mean, I won't say exclusively, but it's mostly American fans, the people that are over here that are watching Stardom that aren't, actually over in Japan where they care about whether your opinion, what your opinion is. Like, Japanese fans love Kamitani.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the market, right? I still think she's on that fast track to that world title. We did not get an announcement for number one contender after Momo, and we know that the winner of Naniwa Roulette will be coming after Kamitani because that was Kashima who will be going after Azumi, or more generally the High Speed Championship. And I think that's also an exciting development. And yeah, then you figure Maihime had an amazing babyface performance last night. They lost, which was incredibly infuriating. But according to our boy Kirby in the Discord, which you guys can all follow for $3 a month. Anybody that's new here that want to be a deeper part of the TWitWoW community, check out our Patreon, see everything that's available to you. Apparently, according to Kirby, Mahime got pretty big pops in the crowd, great crowd support. In fact, Himeka even acknowledged it on Twitter, saying the wrestling gods weren't on our side, but the fans were. I like the idea. It's so funny, dude. to kind of make this a bit of a broader conversation, because we did year-end awards not too long ago. We did it at the end of 2022 going into 2023. I said Julia was my heel of the year. And I went on this whole thing about how, and again, you kind of sparked it because I thought, oh my God, Tam is so awful, this and that, because the whole thing went nuts, boy. And you're like, well, blame Julia. And then we had that whole thing. But I say all of that to say I like the idea that you could have pure baby faces in a faction led by somebody that I still kind of regard as a heel. Because Micah and Himeka, I think, are so likable as a tag team. And I really enjoy the fan support that they got. The question is, though, I mean, do you build them back up to get another shot against 7 Up and then they just win? Do you kind of focus more on them as singles competitors? Like if you saw how they worked and the storytelling in that match last night, how do you think they should go about it?
I don't really know, man. I think my best answer is they should have just put the damn titles on them last night, but like,
Yeah,
obviously they
yeah.
didn't. So I don't really know from here. I think really part of me really wants to at some point see them win the tag titles. See Julia be like, "Oh, I've seen this before. I need to snip this, nip it in the bud." And challenge them for the tag titles with a partner, maybe Sakurai, maybe Tekla, I don't know, and lose, and then have Maihime be like, "You did this to us before. You're kind of shitty to us. We're leaving," and leave DDM, even if it's to make their own faction or go off on their own for a while before joining another faction, whatever. I just think like there's a story to be told where we kind of get it pointed out that Julia's kind of abusive towards them and that they're far more babyface than her. I think there's something to be done with that.
I just think you've got. I don't want to be hyperbolic and say lightning in a bottle or something magical, although that's how I feel inside when I watch Maihime wrestle. But I think you've got something really special in this tag team, especially when, look, I'm going to be honest. We're always honest, even with things that we're very passionate about, like Stardom. In fact, in that case, we're definitely honest because we just want to keep it going. The Goddesses division is kind of in the pits right now because you have 7 Up as the champs, and now we know that BMI 2K are going to be your next challengers. That doesn't get me out of bed, but the idea of Maihime kind of clawing back up and getting another shot, because it's one of my favorite relationships in wrestling. For all the dramatic relationships we've got, namely on my mind, Sammy and Jey Uso or Sammy and Kevin Owens, take your pick, and stuff like that. I love this friendship. I love that these two believe in each other. I mean, last night we even saw that grow because Micah wrestled a handicap match for most of that match. I thought it would told a brilliant story. And then Himeka's comeback, she was so believable. I mean, somebody of her power and her presence to be that sympathetic and that vulnerable. They're both just so talented. But then the problem is, and we're going to segue to the biggest story, which is why I even wanted to talk about Stardom to begin with, why I even felt it was worth talking about Stardom to begin with. Biggest Cinderella tournament field ever. 36 participants. It is going to be insane. I believe March 26th was the date of the start of the Cinderella tournament. And yeah, it's a huge freaking field. I'm not going to even name every name here. I will just say what I said on Twitter when at It's Dana Now tweeted about the Cinderella with all the names as well, that I really hope Kid wins this year. And I look at Hanan as kind of a dark horse, but I also would really pop for Inaba too. One name that I kind of ignored that I would also really pop for is seemingly the woman of the hour right now, Lady C.
Yeah.
I think Lady C winning this would be, I would still regard it as an upset given where she is right now.
Oh, for sure.
But it would be huge. I'd be like, oh my God, that's amazing. So just to kind of hand the ball back to you, brother, and kind of get to a more general conversation here, because again, I think this was the biggest thing to come out of Stardom Supreme Fight last night. That and Hashimoto's dominance, because what a revelation she freaking was. So I'm gonna ask you a few questions about Cinderella. Take it one at a time. I don't want to overwhelm you. How do you feel about this being the biggest field ever? Them really going big with the Cinderella tournament? And I guess part B of this particular question to start the discussion: who do you think the 2 remaining participants are going to be that are yet to be announced?
I'm hoping that it's as simple as it just being Suzu and Risa, and that they wanted to keep those 2 slots open in case Suzu and Risa had a scheduling conflict, and it just works out and they're just in it. That would be great. I would love that.
Yeah, yeah.
Otherwise, though, man, I really have no clue. Maybe Mei Saruga could be in it. That'd be cool. I'd love that. Maybe Iroha could be in it. I'd love that. Maybe the return of Meho Shizuki. I don't know. She's been out of wrestling for a couple years now, though, I think. Maybe Rinka Dokura. I don't know, man. It's wide open as far as I'm concerned. It could be Unagi, could be one of them. She wasn't announced, so Waka maybe could be one of them for all we know. I really don't know, man. It's there are a lot more names than there are slots for sure.
I mean, look, I know this ain't happening, but I will tell you right now that one person I would love, and again, I stress, I know this ain't happening, Konami being in it,
Oh
but how
yeah,
amazing she looked this
that
morning.
would be great.
God damn.
And I know you said
God,
I know
yeah.
this isn't happening, but in my mind, I would not write it off. I would not write it off at all. I think that that is actually more of a possibility than maybe you're even giving it credit for, given how great she looked, how happy she looked. Maybe there's better chance than we realize of her coming back.
Yeah, there could be. There could be. I just always, I know sometimes that, especially me, I could have flights of fancy on here, and I always want to let people know I'm grounded. I just like talking about it. And I do like talking about the prospect of somebody as talented as Konami in this tournament. I will say people that I think have completely left the station, respectfully, just because I don't think they've been mindful enough of what the deal was. I still am seeing people being like, oh, Mercedes could be one of the entrants. I just think they
No.
want Mercedes to be more immersed in stardom than she actually is.
Yeah.
And I get that, but again, it was only one Stardom appearance, and we've talked about this deal multiple times now. She's more New Japan than Stardom.
I mean, dude, I will say the thing is the Cinderella tournament. It actually does line up. Although, no, because here's the thing. This is where I need to bring myself back. The report that we've heard is that she is working 2 New Japan shows and that late April Stardom show. This is a Stardom show, not a New Japan show. So she's just not going to show up on this. It's just not going to be her. It's no way.
Yeah, exactly.
So now I am just with you at this point.
Yeah, so and I say that with all the tenderness and love in the world because I get why people want it, right?
Yeah.
It's like in a way, although I would say you and I still kind of have a chance here, and every other fan that's with us have a chance here. It's like when we say, "Oh, we want Danielson and stuff for a G1." Like it's possible, sure, but it's looking increasingly less likely the more it just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So yeah, but now let's get on to the bigger thing. Again, you saw what I said on Twitter. I said, I'm hoping Kid wins this year. I know you've said the same thing, like you're having strong feelings about Kid.
Mm-hmm.
I said, for me personally, I picked Hanan as a dark horse, and I'd pop for Inaba. And then in this conversation, I thought of Lady C. So you're still, I guess, really feeling Kid. Do you have a dark horse in this tournament that if they won, you'd be like, oh, that's a great pick?
Oh, I mean, well, there are plenty of women that I'd be happy to see win. Just to go down the list, I don't think Utami would make sense just because she's kind of above it in my mind. I'd be happy for Azumi for sure. I'd love it if Hazuki would be great. I'd love that. Komomo seems very unlikely, but if she won it, I'd be happy. Tam seems above it. Poi, I wouldn't be happy. Tekla, no. Sakurai, hell no. Micah, I wouldn't be angry, but I'd probably be a little underwhelmed, honestly. Himeka, I'd probably be pretty happy about that. Lady C, I'd be happy. Obviously, Hina's not winning. Amasaki's not winning. Natsuko, I'd be pissed. Momo, no way. She already won it back in 18. Mina, I'd be stoked. Mariah's not winning it. Ami seems very unlikely, but if she managed, I wouldn't be angry. I actually, I'm going to write her off. She just got her white belt shot. I'm not going to even take her into account. Inaba, I think very unlikely, but again, like you, if she won it, I'd pop for sure. Ruika, hell no. Rina, no way. Shooty's above it. Kid, obviously, is my number 1 pick. Umasaki seems very unlikely given that she's not signed. Saki, I'm guessing that's Kashima. I'd be stoked for her, but I would never expect her to actually win the white belt. Mayu's above it. She's also won multiple already. Ida, hell no. Hanan, very unlikely in my opinion. Nane, fuck you. Unimon, very unlikely. Julia, above it. Kamitani, already the white belt champ. Mirai just won it last year. So I would say, yeah, obviously Starlight Kid is my number 1 pick, but outside of her, I think the people I would be most excited for would be Mina, Azumi, Hazuki, and probably Inaba. And Lady C.
Yeah. Yeah. Dude, I'm glad that we have a consensus about Inaba in terms of excitement because she's so good. I'd be really curious what she would do in a match with Kamitani, because I obviously if she wins Cinderella, most Cinderella winners go after the white belt.
Yeah.
So that's honestly why I'm glad you mentioned Mina as well, because
Yeah.
Mina, she clearly
Well,
wants
because
that
that's the
title
thing,
so
right?
bad.
Is that if Mina didn't win Naniwa Roulette, it feels like the Cinderella has got to be like the way that she gets the white belt, right?
Yeah, God,
So
that
like
really
that's where
kicked me
I'm
up.
going. Is like to me, the winner of the Cinderella this year almost has to beat Kamitani for the white belt, right?
I would think so, man.
So that's
I
where
would
I'm
think
like,
so.
it's either got to be like Kid, which would make sense to me, or if it's not going to be Kid, my next top two choices would be Mina or Hazuki, because those are my top three choices to be the next white belt champ.
Yeah, there you go. Um, I think it's awesome that the tournament's this big. I'm apoplectic that Nanae is in it, just because I hate her so much.
Dude, I
But
don't
should be a fun
understand
time.
why they went to 36 on here. Like they went out of their way to make it a not an exponent of two. Like so basically that means that they're gonna have to give people buys pretty much.
Yeah,
They didn't have to have Rina and Hina in this at all. They sure as fuck didn't have to have Nana in this. And I'm sure that you could have found one other person to take out of it. Like, let's see. Let me see. Let me see if I can find someone. Obviously, they're not going to take fucking Sakurai out of it, which, God, I would if it was up to me. Mariah. Why is Mariah in this? She's not going to be around long enough to go after the white belt. So, yeah, I would say take those four out of it, and then you've got a nice, tight 32 that is much more believable, and you don't have to worry about bye weeks, or I guess bye rounds in this case. So that's my biggest complaint is that it's not 32.
yeah. No, I can understand that. Stardom with a pretty solid show last night with Supreme Fight. We know Showcase is coming up in a few weeks. God, I hope Showcase is good. You guys, you know the one thing with Stardom that I am the most negative about. I've never really cared for the Showcase shows as a whole. Obviously, there are parts of it that I have a lot of fun with, like Falls Count Anywhere, like this one coming up should be a lot of fun. Their Falls Count Anywhere matches are usually very successful in my
Yep.
mind. I'll tell you, now that Mina's no longer like with Cosmic Angels as strongly because she's more focused on the sub faction, let's be honest, is just another faction in Club Venice. I don't think she'll be a part of that Cosmic Angels matchup. I have to wonder if they'll even do one on this upcoming showcase. I personally hope not. I can very much do without it.
No, I saw
Um,
something about they're doing something with the Cosmic Angels, but I don't think that they're doing a Cosmic Rules match.
well, that's good. Um, and we'll see if Rossi gets stuffed in another casket or if the man's just finally going to be able to
Here we
like
go.
watch a goddamn showcase in peace.
It's Showcase Volume 4 coming up on 226. Let me see if I can find. Let me translate the page here real quick. So Shooty versus Kashima is happening in a UWF rules match. Here is the Cosmic Angels. It's the captain. That's what it is. It's a Captain Falls match. We've got Tam, Natspoi, and Saki versus Waka, Mina, and Mariah.
Oh, nice.
And obviously the captains are actually no. The captains aren't who you'd expect. The captains are Tam and Waka. Waka is the captain for her team. So it's Tam as the captain with Natsupo and Saki versus Waka as the captain with Mina and Mariah. And you know the rules of the captain's fall is if the captain gets eliminated, the team loses. But if the captain doesn't get eliminated and the other two do, the team loses anyway.
Yeah.
So that's
God,
interesting.
how are they going to play that out? Because clearly they're making Waka and Tam captains for the further Waka story and Tam's ultimatum.
Yeah.
I just wonder how that's all going to be booked. So I will say, Showcase, congratulations. You got a match that's got my attention because I'm very, very much invested in Waka's story right now, to Stardom and Waka's credit. So
Yeah,
good
we've
stuff
also on Showcase. We've also got Machine Core, which is like a machine group. So Super Strong Stardom Machine, Super Strong Stardom Giant Machine, which is Lady C under a mask, and X. So we're gonna get another machine versus three Shinigamis, which are yet to be revealed. Then of course we've got that Kansai Rules Falls Count Anywhere match, which is Azumi, Momoka Hanazono, Natsu Sumire, and Hanan in a four-way. And then we've got also a women's professional wrestling Muscle Japan #1 deciding match, Muscle, third game. And this is Ida versus Chanyota. So I don't know what this is about. Obviously, it's got something to do with their muscles. They are both very muscular, but I don't know what the rules are to that match. We'll see.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I was kind of hoping we'd get another judo type bout or something,
That would be really
but
nice. I mean, to be
yeah,
fair, we don't have Mayu on the card. We don't have Utami on the card. We don't have Mirai on the card. We don't have Maika on the card. We don't have Inaba on the card. Maybe they will pull something like that out.
maybe. All right. I feel like that kind of rounds out the Stardom discussion. I will say too, as far as Cinderella goes, if Hashimoto took one of those two spots, god damn! After that performance last night against Mirai, or this morning I should say against
How would
Mirai,
anyone eliminate her?
dude, I don't know.
Not only is
Uh,
she not believably beaten by anyone in the tournament, but she's also not really believably thrown over the top rope.
yeah, it would take a collective effort, but the problem is you can't have a collective effort when it's one person at a time.
Yeah, it would
So
have to be basically like a her between. It's like her versus Shooty, and it goes to a draw somehow that they both get eliminated,
yeah,
which would
god
further
damn.
their story. So that would make sense.
All right, so let us move on now. I guess we can move on to Raw.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Or I don't even know about that because I know we always say talk about what we're interested in. I don't even know what of interest happened on Raw. I know we had obviously um eliminate. Actually, wait. I'm getting it. Was Rumble a part of what we're covering this week? And then because I
Yes.
know, so it was okay. Jesus. Okay. Well, then we go from Stardom because that was most immediate on my mind. Let's talk about Rumble. I mean, freaking Rhea Ripley goes number 1, wins the whole goddamn thing, last eliminating Asuka, who did come back with the Kana face paint.
Yep.
Seems like she found what she's looking for.
Last
And
eliminating
Liv,
Liv Morgan. Yeah. Oh, you
yeah,
were gonna mention
well, yeah,
Liv. Okay.
I was gonna say last eliminating Asuka and Liv Morgan. They were the
Right.
final 3. And Liv got misted, quote unquote, by accident by Asuka. I love how they're like more or less implicitly saying that Asuka's heel now, but they haven't really like made it explicit. Kind of got like 2012 Jericho vibes with that. I like that. Makes me curious what they'll do with her come Chamber because we know she's in the Chamber match, but we'll get to that in a little bit. And I'm thinking she's on a collision course with Bianca for Mania, but again, we'll get into that in a little bit. But Rhea had an amazing performance, only to squander it by challenging Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania. I'm really not looking forward to that match, but I know Rhea will do another great carry job with Charlotte. Um, Rhea was amazing. I honestly, I feel like she's already been a star for a little bit now, but I feel like this was the one of the best performances of her career. I thought she looked great in this. I'm excited for her. Really, I'm excited for her if she beats Charlotte for the title reign that she can have as a heel with Judgment Day, because I feel like there are a lot of fun possibilities here. And personally, I thought the women's rumble was I enjoyed it more on the whole than the men's this year. How did you feel about it?
Yeah, man, same. I agree with you on that, and I think I said so on the pay per view. I think I actually said yeah that was better. So
Yeah, just I know a little bit has passed, so I know sometimes our minds can change and whatnot.
no,
So yeah,
I
you and
mean
I are still in agreement on that. Yeah,
it's weird. Do you remember who came out at 30 for the women?
30 for the women. No, I do not.
Shit.
I feel like it was a dud though, wasn't it? It was somebody that we were like, really, you put 30, with that person.
It was Nia Jax.
No. Yeah, I guess that's the other quote unquote news story. She's apparently back, though we didn't see her on Raw last night or on SmackDown. So maybe it was just a one off. But then again, I thought they came out with a new t shirt for her, I heard, unless that was just a rumor. Um, so I don't know, but the sooner she leaves, the better. And if she's already gone, thank goodness.
I
Didn't really
love
need her
that
back.
Javaris is like, because she botched the countdown as if she's the one who controls when her music hits.
Yeah.
Because her music hit at 10 on the countdown rather than at 0. And, like,
Yeah.
people have been trying to act like she's the reason that it did that. And I'm like, God, she's awful, but that's one thing she actually can't control.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. Got to keep our criticisms fair and pointed, right at her where it belongs.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really didn't care to see her back. That kind of took the wind out of my sails. But I will say, as far as the men's rumble, there's only one person to talk about.
Gunther.
Obviously. Yeah. What a fucking performance from this dude. I'll tell you, look, in all seriousness, we know Cody won the Rumble. Personally, and this is me being as fair as possible, yes, I'm very honest. I have been a fan of Cody Rhodes for a number of years because I felt like him leaving WWE to go and do his shit to prove to everybody that he's a main event guy actually exposed him for me personally because I already believed him as a main event guy when he was in the system. He's a guy very much built for WWE. Him leaving and to try and prove himself with like PWG and the New Japan and then AEW, it's like didn't do him any favors.
Don't forget ROH. He's a former ROH world champion.
That's true. That's Ring of Honor as well. Yes, absolutely. And I'm like, my God, this is all one big pile of suck.
Yes.
So I really, really have not cared for that. But again, and this is just me being as sincere as I can be, Cody's promo style, somebody else I think said this on Twitter, because I'm seeing two different camps in my neck of the woods on Twitter, because I know we have different relationships with Twitter, and I think that's honestly for the best. There are people that are like, where's all this Cody hate coming from? You all like need a reason to hate Cody. And then there are those that just like feel like it's entitled and like his promo style. Somebody said something very pointed to me that they feel like Cody's promo style comes off as very insincere. Like they're trying to act like, oh, shucks, thanks, guys. But really they're thinking like, oh, no, I deserve this. I deserve all of this.
Yeah.
And my worry with Cody's promo style, and again, this is in me a good faith criticism. So anybody call me out if they feel differently. That's fine. I feel like it's going to be so pandering that the crowd turns on him. Now, to his credit, and again, to be fair and balanced, he's apparently done very well in moving merch and selling tickets for house shows.
Yes, I have
like this
seen
dude,
that.
we can't deny that he is a draw right now. I just worry that fans might turn on him eventually if he keeps up with this promo stuff. And it's
it's kind of funny actually. He's kind of basically doing what AEW did, where the first time that they ran a bunch of towns, they were like sellouts. And then the second time they ran those same towns, all of a sudden they're struggling to sell tickets. And then they're like, oh, shit, we need to work some different towns. And then those other towns, they also struggled to sell tickets at. So it's like the luster wore off after that first tour. And all of a sudden now it's like, oh, fuck, the quality actually has to be there. We can't just get by on, us being sort of new and the shiny new toy anymore. I guess the shiny new toy works for Tony, but it doesn't work for everyone.
Yeah. I have to wonder because again, it's very clear that Cody is doing numbers. I will not take that away from the man.
Yeah.
I just wonder if he can keep those numbers and if he can grow those numbers long term. Because I have to understand, and I do understand, and you understand that not every fan is like us.
Right.
I think you and I are just burnt out on Cody.
Yeah.
Oh, I won't put the word jaded on you. I will use the word jaded for myself. I'm a bit jaded about his push already, and we haven't even seen the worst of it. But I know that, again, not everybody's like us. There are people that are genuinely rooting for him. For me, everything that people feel positively about Cody, that's how I feel about Sami Zayn right now. I'm like, Sami Zayn's doing it for me.
Right.
But yeah, it's just, I don't know. I'm curious genuinely if people will turn on him or if it's going to be like, okay, we rode with you until Mania and even the first month of your title reign, but now we're bored, give us something new, which wouldn't even just be a Cody thing. That might just be like like an retention kind of thing more generally with audiences. But yeah, I mean, I'll ask you because I trust you like me to kind of put any of your, personal feelings aside and look at things. Do you see the crowd turning on Cody before Mania, or do you think they're riding with him all the way on this?
Dude, I'm going to tell you right now, I don't think they turn on him before Mania, no. And I don't think they turn on him at Mania either, but I do think they turn on him before the end of this calendar year, for sure.
Okay, yeah. I definitely think you and I are in strong agreement about that. I think that's very reasonable.
I think Cody is going to get pushed to the moon. I think he's going to be the one to beat Roman. I think he's going to get the world title, and I think people are going to look back on that in the summer and be like, fuck, man, it should have been Sammy, or it should have been Kevin at least, or maybe even Jey Uso. They gave Roman 2.5 years only to have him drop it to someone with no storyline reason. This is lame. Cody is the fucking three-star wonder. I'm not having fun anymore. This is lame. I don't want this anymore. Go away.
It's so... I want us to have a fair and balanced conversation, and I'm worried that I'm going to fuck it up by being all up in my feels. So I'm trying really hard to just be mindful of my own feelings. But it's weird to me the theme of, like, it makes sense, but it's just for a WrestleMania main event, it's weird to me that the main story between Cody and Roman, the theme seems to be in a word family.
Yeah.
Because Roman's family, right? They're making it all seem like, oh, my family's falling apart. Like, we all have our ideas about that. Obviously, we'll get to that a bit later. And then Cody's like, there's more than one royal family in pro wrestling. And, my father never won the big one. So, like, family seems to be the theme. That's a weird WrestleMania theme. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. I'm like,
I
don't
also,
really
you know
if
what,
you could-
dude?
yeah.
The more you talk about it, the more I'm realizing that if they let me actually put this as succinctly as possible. If they write this story as poorly or anywhere close to as poorly as they wrote the story going into WrestleMania in 2015, so WrestleMania 31, where like we closed the last episode of Raw before WrestleMania with the fucking tug of war between Roman and Brock. If this story is written anywhere near as poorly as that was, fans are going to turn on Cody before WrestleMania. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they're playing with fire. They really are. I just feel like the writing on Roman's end specifically has been so good that, and especially with Sammy now being like the crux of the Roman character, I can't imagine the fans not hating Roman more than they are willing to, get behind Cody by Mania time. But again, they gave themselves too much space too, because now we're going to have Elimination Chamber in like 2 weeks, not even like a week, or no, it is 2 weeks. Actually, it's exactly 2 weeks from today. It's the 18th of this month, I believe. So we're going to have that happen on the 18th of this month. And then there's a 6-ish week period before WrestleMania. That's too long, man. That's too long. That's long enough for fans to forget about how much they hate Roman because of what he did to Sammy. And it's long enough for people to be like, oh, Cody kind of sucks. Roman's kind of awesome. I kind of don't want Cody to win this match. Maybe we shouldn't cheer for him anymore.
And dude, like, I'm not trying to see things that aren't there. So I'm actually going to ask the chat if anybody wants to corroborate this for me, because I watched the SmackDown segment, I think live as it happened for one, but then I watched it like 2 more times at least after that with Roman and Sammy, which set up for Chamber. And the funny thing was, like, Roman opens with the whole acknowledge me, but then the first sentence after that was, so, Ohio, what do you want me to talk about? And, they pop and they start chanting for Sammy. And then he says, that's funny, because I would rather talk about Cody Rhodes. And there were actually some boos there. Did anybody else hear any boos when Cody's name was met? Because it's just, now here's the thing, again, to be as grounded as possible, it's one crowd, and Sammy's really hot right now, and obviously Sammy and Roman is the hot ticket match right now that's going to be served in Montreal, which, God,
dude,
that could be pop of the year easy.
How do you get somebody to want something? How do you get somebody who already wants something to want it even more?
By denying them of it.
Exactly,
usually,
by
right?
withholding it from them. They're not going to give Sammy the world title, so the fans are just going to want it even more by Mania. I got to tell you, man, I would not be entirely surprised if Sammy got added to the match as the fall guy. If they made it a triple threat and Cody pinned Sammy for the title.
Yeah. Dude, I don't know. I think Javaris has a good point, because he said, I heard a few boos, but I took it as them wanting to talk about Sammy, but Roman wouldn't give it to them. Roman would give it to them a little bit, which surprised me, because I thought the way it was going to go was he would ignore Sammy until Sammy does the jump that he does, in the segment, and he kind of forces Roman in a way to pay attention to him. Like, you left me for dead, but the thing was, I ain't dead. I'm still here. But he does talk about Sammy a little bit. I just thought it was funny that already fans were like, no, Sammy's the focus. Sammy, I mean, that one segment alone has been viewed millions of times, apparently, on all of WWE socials. It's the hot ticket item right now. But Roman even says, Cody won the Royal Rumble. He actually deserves my attention. So Roman, he knows what's in front of him, but he's still got to, deal with this whole Sammy thing and hopefully putting his family back together. And yeah, I agree with Mark too. Can't really judge that until after Chamber. I'll be curious when fans have to accept that Sammy lost. Sammy is not the champion. Sammy is not main eventing WrestleMania. We're doing Roman Cody. That's going to be really the barometer
God.
to me
You know what's really
of,
funny? I was
yeah.
actually just listening to a podcast. I think it might have even been yesterday while I was out, and it was an NFL draft podcast, and they were talking about how it's so precise as you get closer to the draft that any speculation we do right now might as well be worthless. He talked about how, like, he was he was putting together a mock draft that this guy runs this website that basically is like wisdom of crowds for mock drafts, right? And its entire goal is to have the most accurate predictions of how the actual real life NFL draft is going to go down before it starts. Now, emphasis there on before it starts, not before the day of, not before the week of, just before it starts. And the reason that's important is because the most useful information on how accurately they can predict the draft doesn't come until the day of. And when is the next most useful information? The week of. Literally, the closer you get to the thing actually starting, the more useful the information coming out becomes. And that's pretty much the exact same thing with WrestleMania. Like, in my mind, we'll know if Cody's going to get booed at Mania not until maybe 2 weeks before Mania, maybe even the week before, honestly. It's going to be hard to tell, I think. I don't think that we're going to be able to fully tell until we get much closer to the actual event.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Um, and you know, man, oh man, this whole story and Sammy and just everything, they've done a great job. I have to give Roman credit too, because you want to talk about like how do you get people to want something, and then we're like, oh, withholding it from them. Jay wasn't on SmackDown, and that worked beautifully for him because there were Jay chants at the end of the show,
Yep.
and Roman ad-libbed it amazingly. He's like, you hear that? They want Jay, but I don't have Jay because you broke up my family. Like, amazing. Like, God,
Dude, the way he handled the what chance was great last night, too.
he's on top of his fucking
Literally,
game,
it
dude.
was he made it seem so simple because all he did was just change up his cadence just enough that every time there was a slight pause, he picked it up quick enough that only a small portion of the crowd got a what in and you could barely hear it. And after like 3 or 4 instances of those like few little bits where maybe like a portion of the crowd over here gets a what in and then there's like, oh shit, that was the wrong timing, and then another portion of the crowd over here gets a what in and they're like, oh shit, wrong timing. Eventually they just gave up on it and he just was able to cut his promo smoothly and be done with it. It was awesome.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, man. Um, God damn. I'm really excited for it. But I guess to round out men's rumble discussion, because there is one more thing I wanted to get a bit into. We started talking about it, but then I did want to just get Cody out of the way and rip the band-aid off. Gunther. What a
Yeah.
performance
Well,
from
and
Gunther.
that's the kind of other crazy thing too, is right. Like both Rumbles this year had a heel go from one to the end. How the hell?
Yeah,
Whose idea was
yeah.
that?
No idea, but I will say I'm only okay with it because, man, if Gunther looked unbeatable before, Jesus Christ, over 70 minutes,
Yeah, he
and
broke
as
Ray's
the
record.
Intercontinental Champion.
What I love about that though, that is like a signal of the times. It's a sign of the times, baby, because it's like in '06, Ray Mysterio lasted, 61 minutes or however long it was, right?
Yeah,
And he is literally the smallest man to ever hold a world championship in WWE. And that's not even like I'm not even gonna look it up. I just know he's the smallest dude to ever hold a world title in WWE. Period. He's smaller than
yeah,
Bryan Danielson for sure. Like he's a tiny
yeah,
little guy. Like if I had to guess his shoot height, I would legitimately say like 5'5", maybe 5'6" tops. He is a little guy. And it makes sense that a little guy like that would have endurance and stamina out the ass. That's practically part of his gimmick, right? He's going to outlast you. He's got all the heart of a lion. He's going to kick out of everything. He's going to, that kind of stuff. This is a big motherfucker doing it. And he outdid it by 10 minutes. Like, I love that we're in the era of big men who can work like little men because we've got Gunther doing his thing. We've already talked about how amazing Keith Lee is. Apparently, earlier on the NXT Vengeance Day show, Dijak had a hell of a banger with Wes Lee, who is also another great smaller guy. And Dijak's fucking huge. I love this era, man. We're in the era of the athletic big man, and fucking Gunther goes into the Royal Rumble and breaks the smallest man to ever hold a world title in WWE's record for longevity in the Royal Rumble. That is so cool to me, and it's just such a great sign of the times and how special this era is for that particular type of wrestler. The athletic, agile big man just isn't like the Undertaker was like a unicorn in his heyday, and now we've got like 8 dudes that can do what he did. At least, like, I'm probably undercounting and underestimating that number, but like still, he was like a one of one in his time, and now they're fucking everywhere,
Salient points all around. I just want to add to that, if WWE really wanted to 5-head this, we know next week on SmackDown there's going to be a fatal 4-way to determine the next number one contender for the Intercontinental title, and I'm assuming that match will take place at Chamber. I would have Ray win it personally, because Ray is in it. It's him, Madcap Moss, Cross,
Yeah.
and then somebody else who I don't know.
Oh, there was one good option. Ray Moss.
Santos.
Yeah.
Santos.
Yep.
It's fucking Santos.
That was the
But
good
personally,
option.
and I love me some Santos, and I would love it in an ideal world, but honestly, I would have it be Ray. They already had an Intercontinental title match a while back on a SmackDown that I think was like really good from what I heard. And now with Gunther taking his record, it's pretty interesting. But I will say this: you can pencil me in as thinking that Gunther is going to defend that Intercontinental title in a triple threat match at Mania against Drew and Sheamus, given that he eliminated them both at the same time at the Rumble, and Drew and Sheamus have kind of rekindled their relationship on screen as allies right now. But we know Sheamus wants the Intercontinental title for a Grand Slam, and Drew, well, his first big title as the chosen one was the Intercontinental Championship. I'm sure he would like to really do it better this time. So I think it's going to be Gunther versus Sheamus versus Drew at Mania, but we just got to get through Chamber first. And I still stand by, though. If it is that triple threat, I would like Sheamus to win. Personally, though, I kind of want Drew to be the fall guy if that's the case, mainly because I would want the final big Sheamus Gunther one-on-one match to be where Sheamus really earns being the Intercontinental Champion.
Wow.
And then after that, you just take as long as you need to get Gunther to that world title, as long as you get him to that world title. This dude is a beast. I mean, here's the thing. Cody already said, like in one of his backstage interviews, like, part of me doesn't want to get in the ring with Gunther again, but another part of me, like, obviously I can't wait to wrestle him again. If Cody wins the fucking title, which I'm trying to make my peace with y'all, but it's hard. It's really hard. I feel like Gunther would be one of his defining feuds. And if I didn't feel like Cody was going to be so fucking OP, obviously I think Gunther should just powerbomb him into oblivion and take those titles. I would want Gunther to big league Cody the way Brock big leagued Cena at that one SummerSlam. That'd be amazing to me. Not going to happen, but it'd be amazing to me. So yeah, big praise to Gunther. Big praise to how he's elevated the Intercontinental title. To me, it feels so important right now, especially after that Rumble performance. And yeah, I'm thinking we're going to get a Haas, big, meaty, fucking slabs of meat, triple threat at WrestleMania. Drew, Sheamus, Gunther should be fucking awesome. Should be one of the best matches on the whole show, to be quite honest with you, the way it's kind of shaping up right now. But yeah, that was that for Rumble. And then obviously the big Sammy angle. Watched that a shit ton of times. There have been great breakdowns of it by Myth GIFs and other people on Twitter. Literally just look it up and I'm sure you'd find a thread that would resonate with you somehow. And yeah, Jay just kind of walking out. We don't know what's going on with Jey Uso. But then that bleeds into Raw. We have Elimination Chamber qualifiers because we're doing 2 chambers this year. One for the United States Championship, which is very interesting for that title. And then the other chamber will be to determine Bianca's opponent at Mania, again, because Charlotte's fate has been decided. Rhea Ripley using her Rumble title shot on Charlotte. So how do you feel about these 2 chambers and that we're doing qualifying matches? How do you feel about, like, just, I guess, the road to these chambers right now?
I feel like such a boomer when I say shit like this, but I miss when these matches were announced ahead of time.
So do you mean like the matches, like as well as like the participants and stuff? You don't like that they do qualifiers, or
no? What I'm saying is, I love qualifiers. That's the part that I
Yeah.
like about this. What I don't like is that they just show up on Raw and they're just like, "Hey guys, we've got 4 qualifiers. Look at them." Rather than being like, "Oh, hey everybody, next week we're going to start having elimination qualifier or elimination chamber qualifiers. Here's what you have to look forward to." They just come up at you right away. Boom, tonight we're doing this now.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want like a week to prepare for the shit, man. Like I want to be able to like see the brackets and be able to predict the shit rather than just throwing them at me, day one kind of thing.
Right. You want to be able to orient yourself properly in what's
Yeah.
happening rather than just,
What's the rush? I mean, y'all have 3 weeks, and I know that that's like the shortest amount of time that you ever really give yourselves between pay-per-views, and I get that, but you get all these elimination chamber qualifying matches out of the way over the first 2 weeks, and then you just stick your thumb up your ass for the 3rd week. Why not use the first week to actually feel the effects of the Royal Rumble and tell us what we have to look forward to next week for the Elimination Chamber qualifying matches, rather than immediately trying to just jump right into Elimination Chamber shit?
Yeah. Yeah. I get you. I think letting it breathe and kind of really setting the stage does a better service to those matches anyway. And I'll even be on one hand, I'm excited, right? On the other hand, though, I really thought under the Triple H regime, I didn't even know we were going to still be doing an Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. Like obviously I knew it because you see the pay-per-view schedule. I guess I should say that I'm surprised we're still doing it because I thought he would want to scale it back and make the chamber kind of mean something. Like if you had 6 really hungry contenders for the world title or one of the women's titles or whatever, you'd be like, okay, clearly there's so much animosity, so much intensity, so much aggression, there's only one way we could settle it, the elimination chamber. But instead we're still kind of doing it as a gimmicky pay-per-view, which does surprise me. I just wonder if maybe historically that's been one of the more successful gimmick pay-per-views and that's why we scaled back on the others or what. But hopefully it's a fun time. I do like that one of the mid-card titles is getting this shine here. Especially because, I mean, look, let's be honest. We just heaped a shit ton of praise on Gunther. Austin Theory is not on the same level as Gunther, so I think he needs kind of this stuff to help him along in elevating that U.S. title. Whereas Gunther, it's like, oh, just ring the bell. I'll do the rest.
Can you do me a favor and remind me, is Theory going to be defending the U.S. title in the chamber, or is it just a contendership match for his title?
He's defending it in the chamber.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, you're right. That is a really good thing. And honestly, if they wanted to really go all out with the chambers, they could do a chamber to determine the number 1 contender for Gunther's Intercontinental title.
Yeah, unfortunately, because we already know about that Fatal 4-Way on SmackDown, it doesn't seem like they're going to go that route.
They're clearly not, because you're right about that 4-way. But they should have.
Yeah.
Or maybe I shouldn't say they should have. They absolutely could have, and I wouldn't have complained one bit. After the performance that man had at Rumble, he's earned a pay-per-view off, goddammit.
Yeah, dude, absolutely. And honestly, not just that, but as a character in the more kayfabe sense, after that performance at Rumble, facing that dude is a big deal. Like,
It's
you
a
get to step in
privilege,
the ring
right?
with that dude. Yeah, dude, absolutely. You and I are in 100% agreement about that. 100%.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, this isn't just the Intercontinental title anymore. This dude has genuinely elevated it. This isn't like a fucking
So
Santino
in your
working
mind,
at the
Sheamus is just destined to be the one to beat him?
I really feel it between just the rivalry and how great the matches have been in the story, and also Sheamus needing it for a Grand Slam, which he's talked about for a while. Sheamus has always been a company guy to me. I think they want to give it to him, and I know they always going to reward a company guy around Mania.
I think strictly because of the fact that Sheamus needs the IC title for a Grand Slam, which I wasn't aware of before we had this conversation. I think because of that and that alone, I would agree with you that it would make a lot of sense. Especially if they kind of give him like the babyface journey where he's kind of already lost a couple of opportunities and he really has to fight his way back to get there, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely behind that. I will say though, I'm just gonna say this right now. If/when Sheamus does beat Gunther for that US title, or Intercontinental title, apologies for the Intercontinental title, I personally think that Gunther should win the world title within like 3 months after that.
Dude, you and I are just so on point about Gunther right now because you can't waste what this dude's got going on right now.
Like, to me, I would say, like, my timeline would be Cody wins the unified whatever the fuck title at WrestleMania. Gunther drops the US or the Intercontinental title around like the beginning of the summer, like June, July. Gunther beats Cody for the world title at SummerSlam.
Yeah. Yeah,
And I
dude,
would have him do it in
100%.
like a similar way to how Malachi Black beat him for the TNT title in AEW, like borderline squash match, basically.
Yeah, I had said earlier I want Gunther to big league Cody like Brock did to Cena at that one SummerSlam.
Exactly.
Just yeah,
Exactly. Yeah. Dude, 100%. Because here's the thing, right? Cody, Cody's character benefits more from that than he would benefit from taking Gunther to the limit, for sure.
yeah, absolutely.
Frankly, in my opinion, Cody's character also benefits more from losing at Mania than he would benefit from just immediately reaching the mountaintop as soon as he tries.
Dude, that's another problem I have with the Cody story. It's like if he just beats Roman here, the biggest setback he would have had would have been the injury, which like I'm not saying is nothing. Like obviously injuries are
Which
always
was
a
less
serious
of a
matter in wrestling,
setback
but
and more of a catapult. They pulled him back so that he could fly forward once he got back.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Exactly. Um
Or yeah,
I
thank
I
you,
just
Javaris. I apologize. It wasn't Malachi Black. It was Brody Lee that squashed Cody for the TNT title.
Okay. But yeah, I just worry that if he beats Roman here after already beating Seth 3 times, because it was the last big thing he did,
Yeah.
which, God, speaking of Seth, I'm still convinced they're doing Seth, Logan, Paul, and Mania, but this isn't the time to discuss that because nothing really relevant to that happened this week. Well, that's not true because Logan Paul did get brought up to Seth in a backstage interview,
Yeah.
and Seth just kind of made a face and walked off. Okay.
Bro, speaking of Seth, did you see the fucking it might have actually been a couple weeks ago. So I was aware of this, and we might have even talked about this on our last review. CM Punk got brought up to Seth, and Seth's response was, someone was talking about, how do you feel if Phil would come back? And he was like, oh God, stay away, you cancer.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that so much. God.
I mean, I gotta be honest. When I read about that, I was like, "Based Seth."
Yeah.
I gotta give the man credit where it's due. That was
Holy
good stuff.
shit.
But no, I say it like that. But actually, I've really liked Seth the last little bit. I mean, yeah, I still absolutely believe that that guy would be the first one to bust a union and be like, guys, what we need to unify is with each other and make the best product possible. Let's go. And trying to be a locker room leader. But I mean, the dude's insanely good at what he fucking does. And yeah, you don't need fucking CM Punk. Not right now.
Hell
Um,
no.
but yeah, we've already kind of given our opinions a little bit about Logan Paul and Seth Rollins at Mania. I know, like you're far more like generous with it than I am. I'm like, no,
I'm stoked for it, man. I'm ready for it. Give it to me, please.
I'm crossing my arms and pouting the whole way. No, and then it's like, but you'll get to see Kevin after. Fine, and we just go and do it.
Here's
But
the
yeah,
thing: Logan Paul's matches are gonna continue being good as long as he continues getting time to choreograph them.
yeah, true.
As long as he gets like a couple months before his next match to really prepare and work out some spots and choreograph his shit and make sure that he gets it right, his matches are going to be bangers every time.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. I mean, look, again, I even said, to my credit, and you guys can go back and look at the tape, I have said that he is good at it in the ring, and he's very natural at it. It's just, I have also said, to keep it consistent, I feel like Seth is at such a level that to me, it's kind of a waste. And I think it really says a lot. I think also, and I wish I would have brought this up at the time, but I think it also says a lot about either the state of the mid card slash upper mid card or WWE's perception of it that you bring in an outside guy rather than making somebody with how good Seth is. That's why I loved Seth and Cesaro at that one Mania because it's like, okay, now we're really like Cesaro finally after all this time is fucking cooking and him and Seth fucking killed it. We haven't called anybody up from NXT seemingly in a while. I know Vengeance Day is currently in progress.
Yes.
But like I think about hypothetically, and again I have to say hypothetically because obviously it's not fucking happening. But like if a Carmelo Hayes was called up, right? I'm like, put him in there with Seth. Get a reason in there. Maybe Carmelo's like, Seth, you really haven't been setting the world on fire. People talk more about how you dress than how you wrestle because you're not getting anything done, or something like that. And then you got something. You got a big attraction match.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that Logan Paul and Seth will be bad. Obviously, it'll be good. I just feel like, man, is the mid card so middling to your own company that you're not looking at anybody and being like, Seth, this is what you were made for. This is what it's been building up for. We've given you world titles. We've given you these spots. Now, really the time to give back. Go and tear the fucking house down with insert name here. Like that's what I wanted, but it's gonna be a good match. I hate that nobody really benefits from it because I don't think Seth's gonna elevate up the card after this. Um, and to be quite honest, he's one person that I don't want to see climb in with Cody. If he's just going to lose again, him losing 3 times to Cody was fucking enough for me. And then
Especially when one of
yeah,
them was to a version of Cody that had a fucking torn pectoral muscle.
Jesus Christ. Um, so yeah, not really in the mood for that. And Logan Paul, he's got other stuff going on. Mainly, he's trying to make people forget that he scammed them out of money. Whatever that whole situation. I think it was about like a game he developed or some shit that just did not do what it promised at all.
Wait, what?
So,
Tell me about this now?
yeah, Logan Paul was in some kind of controversy where like people are calling him out because he scammed them out of money. He said he was going to develop some kind of game, or maybe it was something with NFT. It was something either NFT related or game related, some kind of app. And like he kind of cheated people out of money, and that's why they said he did this return, because people have even said, well, this dude will do anything to make people forget that he scammed them out of their money. So yeah, Logan Paul is
Wow.
in some controversy right now.
Man,
And
once a scumbag, right? Jesus
yeah,
Christ.
I want to assure people that that wasn't even any part of the reason that, yeah, it was a crypto thing, Javara said. That's not even one of the reasons why I was like, oh man, really? Fucking Logan? Again, it's just everything that I just said it was. It's you're not making anybody, nobody's being elevated. And,
I don't think
you know,
WWE sees anybody, or sees Seth, I guess I should say, as needing elevated right now. I think that like they view him as just being so fucking made that like he can do anything. He can lose to anyone. He can put anyone over. He can be put into any program. I think that they just view him as being untouchable, basically.
here's the thing. I don't necessarily disagree with that. Where I diverge is like, okay, if we all agree on that premise, use it for good. You're not using it for good. So I don't know. I don't know. That's just me. Look, you said that sometimes you feel old. This is where I feel old as a wrestling man because I'm like, why aren't you making anybody? And I just feel like I'm the grumpy guy that people put in the corner because I'm bringing down the mood of the party.
I feel like
But
you have a sense of urgency that the WWE severely lacks.
well, you know what, man? Maybe they need to get them. I said recently
Well,
that if more things just imitated my face, we wouldn't have problems.
do you know
So,
why though? I'll tell you why they don't have that sense of urgency about making new stars. It's because it happens by itself over time, and we just don't really realize it until it's too late.
true.
Like,
Yeah,
2015 when they put Roman, they had Roman Reigns win the Rumble and tried to coronate him for the, I think, first time technically. Everyone hated that, and everyone was like, no, I want you to make stars, but not that way. But like, Roman was never going to get over as a babyface, but eventually we got what we wanted. We got Roman as a heel, and now he's over as fuck. And even if you want to say,
yeah,
oh, it took 7 years, it still happened. They still got what they wanted. They got Roman as the top guy, and he is a huge, huge draw. Like SmackDown viewership when he's on, my God, blows the fuck up. Like they're doing numbers insanely well. He's a huge money draw for them. And even like, and like, John Cena, even like when they wanted John Cena to be the top face, he was super controversial, quote unquote. In other words, he was super hated by a large portion of the audience. But like 7, 8 years later, they put him in the U.S. title scene, and all of a sudden, he's super beloved by everyone.
yeah.
And like even now, when he comes back, he's super beloved by everyone. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, man, that was a very thoughtful point that you just made. 'Cause to be perfectly honest with you, I really thought you were going to be like, because they're making fucking money anyway. And
I
then,
mean,
like,
that's
I would have been like, oh,
also
yeah.
true, but like I think what we don't take into account is that the WWE is less worried about making stars in the now and just kind of creating a legacy over time is what they're really trying to do, I think. Cuz like,
Yeah.
you know, right now, we hate Cody, but who knows? Maybe a decade from now, if they do the right moves with him and build his legacy just right, maybe he'll be beloved the way that like Roman and Cena are. You never know. I mean, I have a hard time believing that, but I would have had a hard time believing it about Roman 10 years ago too. You know?
Yeah, I think everything you're saying is very fair, man. And yeah, I really don't have anything to say, against that. I will say that that's really all I care to talk about with Rumble. Apparently, I will say just very quickly, because honestly, I'm feeling kind of dispirited with the story already, which is a fucking shame. But with the lights out match or the pitch black match, I keep wanting to call it lights out. That's an AEW thing. Apparently it did work. Mountain Dew was very happy for it, and I think they got $1 million for that match to WWE. So
Holy
like,
shit.
and I don't know.
I also saw we're
Not,
going to
yeah.
get another sponsored match for WrestleMania 39.
Thanks, I hate it. But
How much do you want to bet it's the
yeah.
Rollins-Logan match?
Oh my god. Oh my god. Is this the next stage of capitalism? Where
Yes!
it's no, I'm not even okay. First of all, I do appreciate the enthusiasm, but I wasn't even like trying to set up a joke. That like I am being kind of serious. Where I'm like, is this just how ads are going to be now?
Yeah.
Where it's like ads are almost
Integrated into the
theatrical
product?
or integrated.
Yes!
Yeah, like
Yes!
yeah. Oh my
Dude,
god, it
it's
just
the
keeps getting
hybrid.
worse.
It's a hybrid of commercials and product placement.
Oh my god, it's awful. Oh my god. I was laughing to myself. No, you know what? That's too separate a conversation. I got to stay focused. I apologize, people. I'm gonna put that to the side. Let's get back on track. Okay, yeah. So we were talking about Raw. We're talking about the Chamber qualifiers. We know with the United States title, we have freaking Johnny Gargano in it. He beat fucking Corbin. This JBL pairing isn't working for him at all. Corbin, Jonah's in it, and Jonah, I think, is going to be a behemoth in it. I actually liked how he kind of squashed Ziggler and handled him, just pretty easily. It's like, yeah, I kind of have your number here. Who was the other person that qualified that was cool?
No. Priest?
Was it No, that's next week. That's happening next week because he's facing Dawkins. And then we know Ford is facing Elias. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Ford qualifying is going to be exciting as shit, though, because I think, honestly, I hate to say it for all you Street Profits fans, and I would count myself as one of them because I don't even have a problem with Dawkins. Seth was the one that qualified. That's right, because, yeah, Seth beat Gable. So Seth is going to be in that chamber.
So what is it then?
But no.
Seth, Jonah, Theory, who else?
And, oh, God, we just said it.
Who beat Corbin?
Gargano. Seth, Jonah, Gargano, Theory. Yeah, for right now.
And then most likely Priest and Ford.
Yeah.
I like that field, man. I dig that field. That's a fun field.
Dude, I'm so excited for Montez.
The worst part of that field is the fucking champion.
Yeah, dude. Unironically, yeah, because even Jonah, with the way he's being booked right now, I'm like, you know what? I fucks with this.
We're gonna get a tsunami off of a fucking pod. It's gonna be great.
Dude, either that or we're gonna get Montez's fucking impeccable frog splash on the pod. That's gonna be spot of the year.
I hope he doesn't
early.
hit his head on the top of the chamber.
Oh god, that would be awful.
I feel like I mean, if he's not careful, I feel like that would be really easy for him to do accidentally. But I feel like he's got to have a level of awareness about that and know and just not do it.
Now, let me ask you, because I like the differing opinions that you and I have had. This has been a very nice 12-1 review. I'm feeling very cozy right now. Yeah. Do you feel like me that this is going to be the start of the breakup of the street? I'm not saying like all at once, but like gradually. Do you think that this is going to be the start of them breaking up and then being like, okay, we need to get Montez started on this singles push, a la Edge and Christian, when Edge was kind of doing stuff and Christian was like not broken up just yet, but he was kind of the tag along. How do you see all this going?
Let me put it this way. In my mind, if they don't use this as a way to have Angelo versus Montez one-on-one at WrestleMania, they shouldn't do it at all.
Interesting.
Like you should either use this as an opportunity to do the breakup over the 6 weeks that you have between Chamber and Mania to set up that one-on-one match at Mania, or they should just brush it off their shoulders and move on as a tag team and set it up some other time.
Now, can I ask you a follow-up question? Because you went harder than I anticipated. When you do the match at Mania, now I want to be very careful here. Do you do it like an Edge and Christian breakup where one is clearly heel, or do you do it like an Eddie and Ray where there hasn't been a formal breakup yet, but say Ford wins, Dawkins gets frustrated, and then the next night on Raw he just beats the shit out of Ford. So the Raw after Mania, one of the big things that happen is the definitive end of the Street Profits.
You know? That's actually an interesting question. I don't think I even necessarily agree with the alignments that you gave them. Because I really think that Ford should be the heel. I think that we should have sort of a, you're holding me back moment with Ford, where he's maybe he's angry after he loses the Chamber match itself on the Raw after Chamber, and Dawkins is just like, oh, it's all good, man. You were in there with a bunch of single stars, and we could still win the tag titles at Mania or whatever. And Ford's just like, nah, man, that's not enough. I'm done with the tag team shit. You're holding me back, like that kind of shit. Like I want Ford to get a big head after he beats. Who's he facing on Monday?
Elias, I think it is.
Yeah, after he beats Elias, I want him to get a big fucking head, and I want him to start seeing like there's a green grass on the other side situation here where he's ready to start going after that singles accomplishments. And Angelo wants to just stay friends with him, wants them to stay going after the tag titles, and Ford starts getting a little more ambitious, and he starts wanting to be a single star and starts wanting to, go after singles gold and that kind of stuff. And we get like a very dark, heelish version of Ford because of that. And Dawkins would stay babyface, and he would be the more empathetic, sympathetic character out of the two.
Okay, so I'm actually really I'm so excited about this conversation in particular because there's a lot I want to say here. To start, I don't necessarily disagree with you. My dream for a while has been power couple Ford Bianca running this shit. Bianca currently though is in kind of her Cena babyface era.
Yeah.
Yes, and I was just getting ready to say that. We know that that's not going to happen anytime soon. That's why I kind of went with Dawkins as the heel to start. But I understand you wanting to already kind of get Ford's legs underneath a heel run and seeing how that goes. That said, regardless of what his alignment is, two big things I want to say here about this. One, if you really want to do right by Ford, he should make it to the very end with Theory. Because I always love when they do a chamber where that guy that you didn't expect to make it to the end actually does make it to the end and then loses in a valiant effort. Kind of like the way they did with Kofi and Bryan in that one chamber before Kofi Mania. Then, beyond that, if they do the split this year, I have to consider Ford a dark horse for Money in the Bank this year. And I want to say that too, because especially, dude, if you're right and Ford is the heel in this dynamic, imagine putting a freshly heel Montez Ford with that fucking briefcase. That would be the first time I've really given a shit about it in seemingly a long time. Because I was curious about Otis, but like obviously they didn't do anything with it, and then the Miz got it, and that was whatever. Ford with that fucking briefcase as a heel coming out in suits and his shades, talking about how he's the future and he's got the athleticism to back it up. That's exciting. That's exciting. So I want to say another thing too, that if they do the split this year, which God, with what we're looking at right in front of us, seems possible. Money in the Bank got a hell of a lot more interesting because like I'm looking at Ford, I'm looking at that briefcase, and I'm like peanut butter with jelly, baby. It goes so well together. Oh God. Him on the heel side and Sammy on the babyface side, honestly, because I don't want Sammy's like potential main event run to just cool down so quickly after Chamber. I'd like to find a way to get that fire going again after that Montreal match. But yeah, I think that was the biggest story as far as the Chamber matches go, is like, yeah, Ford and Dawkins are getting singles opportunities to qualify. And yeah, I think internally this is like, okay, guys, we're doing it. The Ford agenda is starting. So that's really cool. Anything else happen on Raw that was of interest? I mean, we had Asuka interact with Carmella, and we know that Asuka's kind of continuing her thing.
Oh yeah, that was that whole thing where they were like, "Oh, we're gonna get words from Bianca," and then it was Carmella, and we never got Bianca, and she did like a Twitter exclusive. Yeah.
That'll be the receipt, dude. You're like, we both agree that it's not gonna happen, but what if that was the start? What if it's like, I'm tired of this company promoting me and then not using me, but it's like, but you were the champion and you're so dominant, but they didn't give me that one segment, so fuck all of you. Oh, that'd be great. But no. Yeah, excited to see more of Asuka. Again, I feel like she's dialed in to be Bianca's opponent unless somebody else qualifies, and I'm like, oh fuck. I think that could be a really fun Mania match. But like I said in the Discord last night, though, I want some more meat on the bone. I don't just want it to be a story of two really, really good wrestlers. I'd like there to be like a little bit of an extra element, maybe coming from Asuka's side as the heel in this. So how do you feel about the women's chamber and like Asuka specifically? Like, or do you feel like she could pull this heel run off? How are we feeling?
I'm sorry, who's heel run?
I'm saying Asuka because I feel like she's a heel right now because like she misted Liv at Rumble, and even though that was an accident, again I feel like that was their implicit way of being like, oh hey, this isn't the Asuka you used to know. We're gonna do things a little differently with her. And then, I feel like she's going to win the chamber. Clearly, Bianca's a super babyface right now. So I feel like they're going to more telegraph Asuka as a heel. So if I'm right about that, do you think Asuka can pull that off? How do you feel about an Asuka Bianca WrestleMania match, et cetera, et cetera?
Okay, so first of all, let me just say, I don't think Asuka is a full blown heel. I think that she's kind of in that like almost like Brock Lesnar kind of situation where she's a badass and
Yeah.
she's gonna have ambition, and she might want to go after Bianca's world title, and that would be understandable, and maybe she will miss Bianca at some point, but I don't think that her missing Liv was intentional. I don't think that that was meant to be even coded as, oh, wink, wink, she did that on purpose and just wanted it to look like an accident. I think it was an actual accident. She was aiming for Rhea, and Rhea ducked. Like, I don't think that
Yeah.
that's a code or anything. I think that was just an actual mistake. But the potential for a Bianca Asuka match at Mania, good lord. I mean, you've been talking about how much you're kind of dreading Rhea versus Charlotte because of the fact that Charlotte exists. But man, could Bianca Asuka make up for that shit? Holy fuck!
I think that could be so much fun. Uh Personally, and I know Asuka's a bit like later in her career and she's already done so much. I would want Asuka to win that if they do go that route. But I think you know what? Check back in with me again when we know definitively where the Asuka character is. Because clearly you and I are getting two completely different vibes, and that's fine. I'd like to see which one of us is more like got their finger on the pulse, and then you can visit back with me again. Mark said he wanted that match for all of Bianca's reign. I think you are very likely to get it, Mark. I'm thinking there's a great chance that Asuka's going to pull it off. So I think that's pretty exciting. I really can't think of anything else though worthwhile to talk about on Raw because Raw is definitely the Cody show right now. He main evented this Raw against Finn, and you and I dipped out of that. Super Blue gave us permission to dip out of that. Thank you again, Super Blue. Hope you had a fun time actually at the show. Um, so then let's go to AEW, which I actually did watch like a lot of clips of, so I can be more participatory this week. And I'm so happy. I even got done when we were having one conversation. I had it on mute. I watched a Rampage clip of Swerve taking out Brian Pillman. We can also talk about that in a little bit. But with Rampage, anything you want to talk about, man?
I barely watched Rampage at all, man. That was last night. I didn't pay much attention to it.
Excuse me, Dynamite. Dynamite. I got mixed up.
Oh,
Dynamite. If there's
oh,
anything you want to talk about with
Dynamite.
Dynamite. Yeah.
I was underwhelmed by Danielson Thatcher, man. I got to tell you. I feel like the last really good Danielson match was the 2 weeks ago, the Bandito one.
I watched the 8-minute upload of Danielson Thatcher from AEW's YouTube channel. So I got to see like some of the work of Thatcher. Thatcher, I love the intensity he brings. I will give AEW credit because God knows they're going to need to do a lot for Max to get us through this title reign, which I feel like is going to go a long time. You guys have already known my theory. I think he's going to hold it till 2024. And then in kayfabe, it's like, oh, well, I succeeded. Now this title can be what it was always meant to be, a bargaining chip between companies that want me and, all that bullshit. And with this Danielson story, it's like, oh, well, what kind of condition is he going to be in for the Iron Man match? Like, if he's down an arm, how do you wrestle with one arm for 60 minutes? That kind of thing. And I do think that's a unique story when you've got a purebred wrestler like Danielson against a heel like MJF. We'll just have to see how they pull it all off. But yeah, I didn't think what I saw of this match again from that YouTube clip was bad. I just felt like, I don't know. Like, again, we know that Danielson's going to win. Nothing really wrong with that. MJF did want to screw Danielson at one point, but then Takeshita actually made the save. Now, see, that I'm interested in because I'm a Takeshita fan. I also did see earlier in the night he beat Brian Cage, which I also really liked. I saw that as well. I thought those two had a solid back and forth bout. Love the avalanche brainbuster from Takeshita before the knee. I thought it made him actually beating Cage a bit believable because, I mean, look at Cage. So I'm starting to believe now the rumors that I was hearing that AEW really does want to make Takeshita a star. And so he stops MJF. And in fact, the show ends, well, at least that segment for me when I was watching it, ended with MJF and Takeshita brawling backstage, and then Renee coming in and being like, hey, I just got word that next week it's going to be MJF versus Takeshita in an eliminator match. MJF is obviously apoplectic because his whole thing is, I'm rich, I'm the champion, I run the show, I don't have to do shit. Everybody comes to me, not the other way around. personally, I hope Takeshita gets the upset, but I'm not expecting it. I'm expecting them to do the AEW thing where it's like, it was a really, really good match, but Takeshita fell short. But because Takeshita ran interference, Danielson and Thatcher were able to go back to their match. Danielson wins with the knee, gets the win. So now he's got one more opponent for next week. And I just have to wonder how that's all gonna, how that's all gonna go for him. So yeah, beyond that, can I tell you the thing that I'm most dreading that I saw on Dynamite?
Go for it.
Fucking Billy Gunn's gonna betray the Acclaimed, isn't he?
I sure think so, yeah. Sure seems that way.
God damn it, dude. This is one thing, because I got tired of myself leaving you in the trenches on AEW and being like, oh, that sounds whatever. I actually wanted to give substantive opinions. So for all of you, because I love all of you, and you give us all your time, so the least I could do is give you some of my time. I watched this fucking promo. I'm gonna be honest with y'all, because that's the thing. I at least can be honest about it. I hate the fucking Guns. I hate them so, like, dude, I was looking at them, and I don't like being this offensive IRL, because I know none of us asked to be here, and we're all doing our best, but I literally wanted to ask, I think it was Colton, what is wrong with your face? What is going on there, my dude? I'm looking at these people, and I'm like, if this isn't some backyard wrestling bullshit, they look like the templates for creator wrestlers in video games. And you just do the most uninspired, insipid design possible. Just to be like, I made a wrestler. No, you didn't. You made shit. You should feel bad. Unplug your controller, go in your room, and think about your life choices. Fuck. Yes. Let me put the fucking martini glass under those tears so I can have a nice, cold, refreshing drink for my fucking troubles. God damn it. Oh my God. So the Acclaimed are kind of a promo. They're still doing their thing. It's still super over. To their unironic credit, scissoring is still over, apparently. I honestly thought that it would have run its course a while ago. Nah, baby. That shit has still got gas. And then the Guns come out. And, okay, so there was a lot that I was thinking with this, and I'm only driving this because you usually drive AEW segments, so I thought I would take the load off you this week, at least for this fucking shit. Yeah. I love your face, unlike theirs. God, it's so hideous. It's so hideous. Why wasn't Stokely out there with them? Because aren't they still part of the firm? Like, I would have wanted, because I'm telling you, dude, if Stokely would have come out with them, it would have elevated it so much. Because we all love Stokely. That's obviously. But it's just them. It's just them. And they're cutting their promo about like, oh, we deserve a tag title shot. I don't even know if that's true or not. I don't give a fuck. But then the Acclaimed are like, oh, well, does the crowd think they deserve a tag title shot? Obviously, they're going to say no because they're a fucking pile of ass. And then it's like, oh, well, it's no. And then Billy Gunn, see, this is what you all don't know how to do a fucking betrayal or a fucking realignment. Wrestling needs to work this shit out. Okay, because I thought we would have gotten better since Hogan with the NWO. Which side is he on? Well, gee, now that you said that, fuckwit, I really have to wonder. 1 + 1 = 3, I guess. Fucking Billy Gunn just out of nowhere gets mad at both teams. The Acclaim didn't even do anything wrong. He's like, oh, I'm sick of this. I'm sick of you guys fighting. This is the first I'm seeing of it. What are you doing, William? Like, what? Get the fuck back here. And then the Guns are like, oh, yeah, just do what you always do. Walk out on us and drown your sorrows in the bottom of a pill bottle. And again, with this shit, with this try hard fucking, let's go really personal and real, because as long as you have a little bit of real, that makes any promo good, right? Oh, my God. It's like putting sauce over overcooked meat. It's like, no.
Oh, God, an overcooked steak that you have to dip in ketchup. Oh,
you know what
God.
I'm saying? Yeah, that's what this is. Dude, I'm so glad that resonated, because that's what this is. You overcook the fucking meat and you're trying to put the ketchup on it, and I'm like, fuck you. Caster Sales is like, the firm is a non-existent entity. Well, then what the fuck is Stokely doing? Is he doing anything? Fuck, God. All right, so then Billy comes back. The microphone fails again. What the fuck is going on with AEW's audio issues? It seems like every time I tune in, I get to see at least one microphone fail.
Didn't WWE have the audio issues on Raw 30 with Hogan trying to talk and it failed?
Dude, I didn't even pay attention to Raw 30, so you might be right, but I didn't see it.
Oh.
Maybe it's just a wrestling problem, but I'm just saying that I notice it a lot with AEW lately. It seems like there's always going to be a microphone failing per week. So he's still with Ethan Page. Okay, so he's still with somebody.
Oh
That's
God! Why couldn't they
that's
keep him with Lee Moriarty, man? Fuck.
dude. They don't give a fuck about Lee Moriarty, and that's their mistake. God damn it. Um, I'm sorry that I had to say that so harshly, but we all know that I'm right, unfortunately.
Jesus
Fuck.
Christ.
So yeah, pretty much, bud. Pretty fucking much. So then Billy's like, "Oh, you ready to get your big boy pants?" Slam the microphone, get a new one. You ready to get your big boy pants on? Fine, you got it. Tag title. So he accepts on behalf of the Acclaim. The Acclaim are looking like, the fuck. Yeah, he's turning on them, and then he's gonna be like, "Sorry, boys, you're good, but you ain't blood." And then they're gonna mock the scissor or some shit, and then I'm gonna hate my life because I'm like, you know what? I wasn't even down with the scissoring shit, but it was over. They liked it. Like, is it worth getting heat on a generic ass fucking tag team? I don't think so. I don't think the trade-off's
Bro,
worth it.
this is what I keep fucking talking about. AEW is like the scientists in the first Jurassic Park movie. They're so fucking concerned with whether they can that they're never going to stop and think about whether they should.
Yeah. No.
God
No.
damn it. Who
Yeah.
gives a
Yeah.
fuck about these two generic little legacy bitch boys? I know I don't. I stopped caring about Billy Gunn 20 plus years ago. Remember the one Billy Gunn? Yeah, neither does anyone else.
Your tone when you were like, "God damn it," is my perpetual mood when I remember that this company exists anymore. Actually, no, that's not fair. That's more exclusively reserved for Impact because I've seen a little bit of what they're doing, and Jesus Christ. But
Dude, it
yeah,
is so infuriating that AEW's issues are so easily solvable by just not having everything fall on the shoulders of one billionaire motherfucker.
does Tony Khan have an impulse problem? Like, I feel like so much of this is like,
Bro,
because we always talk about like shiny
he's
new
a
toy syndrome, right?
billionaire. Name one
Yeah,
that doesn't.
yeah, that's true. That's true. Folks, this is why we tell you though, if you destroy capitalism, I'm telling you, you automatically improve professional wrestling by a
Bro,
fucking gigaton.
see, you said this the other night, and I just have to question, without capitalism, does professional wrestling even exist?
I feel like it exists in some form. I feel like we're so used to professional wrestling under a capitalist environment that it's hard to even conceive it in any other environment, but I do think it's possible. I don't know. Maybe it would just be like a federation of promotions or something. A World Wrestling Federation.
Whoa.
But
Whoa. I mean, without copyright law, then we could have that back at least.
I'm such a broken person. What has wrestling done to me? So yeah. Billy Gunn's gonna fucking turn heel and hand his children the tag titles and be like, "Thank you,
God.
Papa."
Yeah,
And it's like,
no, imagine though being like, oh, Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland are on my roster. You know what I want to do with them? Tag team. Yeah, that's what I want to do with them. And you know what I want them to do? Drop the titles to the guys that scissor. And you know what I want to do with them? Drop the titles to the fucking Sons of the Gun. Oh my god.
you
I
again.
hate everything.
At first, I thought you were transforming, and then I realized you were receding into yourself. And now you're broadcasting live from like your intestine or some shit. Uh,
I
God.
think it might be my pancreas.
Oh, God.
It's really stuffy in here.
So bad. Dude, I'm like, because you know what the frustrating thing is? I watch these clips again because I'm like, you know what? They're simple clips. And I'll be honest with you guys too. I watch some of them on 2x speed. I'm like, I ain't got time for this fucking shit. So I'm like, I'm doing that. But you know, I wanted to talk about it with you. I want to talk about it with these guys. And honestly, I was hoping to enjoy it. Again, I enjoyed Takesh to Cage. I also did watch Hangman Moxley. We can also talk about that in a little bit. But before that, though, I just want to round this out. I just want to enjoy the stuff that I watch. And just seeing the Guns come out and doing all that, I'm like, these are really going to be the guys that are your next tag champions. Like, I feel like FTR has been a bit overexposed, but I would have gotten that if FTR just went
Oh.
back to being heels and then like fucking shattered, Bowens' leg. I was trying to think of the other guy's name because I know Castor is like the rapper. Bowens' leg and all that stuff. I feel like, yeah, but you're really gonna do, what is with nepotism in wrestling? Can it stop? Can it just at least cool down?
Bro,
Fuck.
it's never going away. And I feel like AEW was like, oh, you don't like that WWE's nepotism is that they give things to legacies? We're going to give things to our friends instead. And then eventually the friends had legacies, and that's where we're at now.
Oh my god. I will say, now this I actually thought I was going to come in a lot more negatively about, but then I'm like, no, John, you're kind of being a cornet. Maybe simmer down. I also saw Red Velvet and Jade, like the closing moments of that matchup. Jade now 50-0. And where I was gonna be a curmudgeon, but then I realized it's not necessarily Jade's fault as a character, so that's being a little too hard on the booking, I guess, in that front. Red Velvet looked great here.
Yeah.
I actually enjoyed her
Yeah.
going against Jade. They have a moment in the match where Red Velvet actually has her beat because of like a tornado kick, but Kira Hogan, because she neutralized part of Jade's entourage, the referee was distracted, and then they have a little bit more of a back and forth, and then Jade gets jaded, that double chicken wing kind of glam slam. It was a beautiful sequence for the 3 count. And the part that I was kind of grumbling about was that afterwards, Jade celebrates with her daughter. And I'm like, well, clearly you were booked in a more heelish fashion because you were beat. And then you just recover and you win. But it wasn't her fault that the ref was distracted. If anything, that was Kira Hogan trying to help Red Velvet, but she more hurts her than helps her. Personally, though, because Red Velvet clearly had her pinned, I would like a rematch at some point down the line. I don't think we're going to get it because I think the whole point of the streak is I want to beat new people. I've already beaten you, so
I think we're
kick
probably going
rocks.
to get Kiera versus Red Velvet at some point.
Yeah. Who do you think is the heel in that, Kira?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I thought so too. But yeah, I will give praise to that. I think Jade, I'll tell you, when she drops that title, I don't think it'll be long at all until she's wearing the actual like AEW Women's Championship. I think it'll be a pretty decent amount of time between title reigns, between the TBS title reign and then her winning that.
In that case, I hope it's not for a long time because I want Jamie Hayter to have a nice, healthy, long title reign.
That is true. I already feel like, though, given how Jade has been built up and given the credibility that Jamie Hayter has just by existing, that's got to be in AEW's mind like a bigger money match in the women's division. So I'm that may even happen this year, quite honestly. I don't know, but yeah, Jade looked good in there, strong win. And then yeah, Hangman and Moxley. What did you think about this match, man? Do you have any thoughts about this?
Barely caught it, actually. I didn't tune into AEW until a few minutes into this match, actually, unfortunately. And I know Moxley won, and then Hangman was really pissy about it afterwards, but that's about all I know about it.
Yeah, I could say a little bit about this because, again, like I told you, I'm being honest with everybody, it's not that I didn't watch anything, it's that I just watched YouTube clips. So, here's the thing about this match. Love the intensity of both guys, obviously, given the story. I saw on Twitter, and thankfully, obviously, it wasn't a part of the YouTube clip, obviously, where the camera panned to where Moxley actually was blading, which is also my other big thing. And we've kind of talked about this before, and it's beating a dead horse. But see, like, I wish they didn't do blood so much because of how personal this feud has felt with Hangman, almost like God knows what would have happened with his career the last time he was in the ring with Moxley, and then the concussion and everything. If he would have made Moxley gush, like, just out of anger, like, I almost lost everything because of you, now I'm going to take everything from you, it would have felt so earned. But Moxley's such a fucking carny, and he's like so into this bullshit of like bleeding every match, it doesn't have any impact. If anything, it's become a meme to the point where even Nyla Rose tweeted about it. What did she tweet? I hope I don't have to go that far back because I actually feel the need to like look this up. Nyla Rose, I think she said something about Moxley having a gusher. When the hell did he even start bleeding, or where the hell did that? Okay, yeah. This is what she tweeted. This is February 1st. Is Mox sponsored by Gushers? How the hoot is he bleeding already? That's where it's gotten to, where people that you share a locker room with are like, bruh, what are you doing?
Yep.
Yeah. And like, yeah, I don't, that's ridiculous to me. That's ridiculous to me because it cheapens feuds that honestly, from what I've seen on YouTube, I've liked the stuff that Castor, excuse me, God, I have Castor because I was reading the chat from Javaris, that Hangman and Moxley have been doing together. And then it's like, oh, you're gonna blade in the corner, and then the camera work's gonna be so, whatever, that they're actually gonna cut to you doing it, which further completely destroys the illusion. But all of that aside, good intensity. The only fuck you moment I had, and I like Moxley, and I don't want to feel like I'm turning on him, but I feel like that might slowly be happening. There's a point in the match, dude, and I'm only telling you this because you just said you didn't catch much of it. Now, I don't know, maybe you feel like I'm being too hard on them. There's a point where Moxley gets hit with a tombstone by Hangman, and then immediately Hangman follows up, no space between that, with the buckshot lariat, and it's still only a near fall. And I'm like, I would have had Hangman fucking win there. And then you have Hangman go for the bulldog choke that we know Moxley has used. And to the credit of the writing, obviously, if you use a hold, you should know how to counter it. So that's fair enough, because Moxley would look pretty inept if you've been using a hold, but you don't know how to get out of the hold. You should know everything about a hold if you're going to use it. He gets a really deep pin on Page, which looked great for the 3 count. And it is a kind of finish that it's like, it wasn't decisive, it wasn't dominant. You caught me, just the same way he caught Danielson, which started the Blackpool Combat Club. And, I'm not satisfied with that. Hangman sure as shit isn't satisfied with that because he lost. I just feel like Mox was a bit OP, kicking out of a tombstone and a buckshot lariat. That was my biggest gripe with the match. Other than that, I do think they're going to have a third one soon, and it should be pretty fire, honestly. You just got to work on the camera work and maybe not blade, and maybe just rely on the intensity another way without having to use blood. Those are my biggest notes about that. I'm guessing you don't have anything to add, though, again, given that you didn't see much of this.
Well, I will say, bro, I hate to say this, but I think we've officially reached the point that a tombstone piledriver, at least in America, because I know that Mariah May has been finishing bitches off with it over in Japan, and that's awesome, and I'm happy for her. But in America, I think we've reached the point that a tombstone piledriver should be getting treated like a DDT.
That's fair, but when it's also preceded by a buckshot lariat, I'm like, the two things in tandem getting the near falls what bothered me. Because it wasn't like tombstone pin, then buckshot. It was tombstone buckshot, then pin. And I'm like, I don't know. Mox is looking just a little OP there for me, but I do understand.
I think Moxley has kicked out of the buckshot a few times now.
I don't know how I feel about that either. But hey, I mean, look, when you're bringing points, I can't argue against the points. I just have to know my relationship to them. And if that's really true, I don't know if I feel comfortable with that. But that's a separate problem. I agree, Javaris. Somebody needs to tell Mox, hey, don't ever not blade, but be selective about it, for fuck's sake. Christ. Doing it in every goddamn match. It's like, that doesn't even make you look tough. If anything, that makes you look frail. Because it's like, it's that easy to make you bleed. All I have to do is make sure I challenge you to a first blood match, guaranteed win. I just have to smack you in the first 3 minutes and it's over. So yeah, I really just was not a fan of that part, but the match overall, pretty solid.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, actually, I know we're talking about AEW, but obviously the biggest thing on Raw, I can't believe we didn't talk about this. Boogs is back. So welcome back,
Dude,
Boogs.
Yes, what a great return.
Dude, honestly, I know it would have been way too soon, but I was kind of hoping he'd get a chamber qualifier. I thought we would just go full speed ahead.
Dude,
we're not doing that.
I feel like they booked his return specifically for my mom, because we were all expecting him to be at the Rumble, and then he wasn't, and her hope of seeing him anytime soon died. And then all of a sudden he shows up on Raw, and it caught her so much by surprise that she was in tears, man. She was losing her shit. She was so happy to see him, and I was stoked to see him too. But I mean, you all heard her on our live reaction. She was losing it.
Yeah.
It was awesome. It was really cool.
I will say, bro, I even looked on AEW's YouTube channel, because when I was watching those Dynamite clips, I'm like, okay, let me just watch all the big stuff that I can. I didn't see anything from the women this week. Did anything happen with the women?
Yeah. So Saraya and Tony attacked Britt backstage while Jamie was being interviewed. So that, obviously Jamie couldn't save Britt. She was being interviewed and they were attacking Britt, and they throwing her into the garage door and shit like that. And then later on in the night, we had a backstage segment where Britt was in the medical room with Jamie, and, they were being interviewed, and Britt was okay. Ruby came in and basically just wanted to check on Britt and make sure she was okay. And, there was this implication of, you know those girls a hell of a lot more than you know us, and a hell of a lot more than we know them, or whatever like that. Basically implying like Ruby is a WWE girl like Saraya and Tony, so they kind of wanted to like group her in with them. And Ruby is just like, but I don't like them. I'm here because I'm here, and I'm here to check on you and that kind of stuff. So they're kind of just telling the story of the AEW originals versus the WWE invaders, I guess. And Ruby is kind of being put in a position to pick a side, basically. And it seems like she's chosen the AEW original side, but they're really teasing whether or not she's going to stay there or turn heel, basically.
Yeah, yeah. I'll be curious to see where that goes. I really don't want Jamie Hayter's reign to become convoluted and mired in all this bullshit, but I'm very tentative about it because she's so goddamn talented. Um, yeah, we'll have to see where it goes. I can't think of anything else to talk about with AEW. And then I already mentioned on Rampage, I did see that Swerve and his gang, Parker Boudreaux and whoever the other guy is,
Oh,
um,
he has a name now. It's like a weird like single like gangster name. Let me see if I can find it. I think he's on their roster now, so it shouldn't be too hard to find. It's like Crutch or some stupid shit like that. Let me see. Where is he? There's Parker. Where is this tatted up motherfucker? God damn it. It's Mogul Affiliates is the name of the group.
yes, yes.
God damn it, I'm not gonna find him in a decent amount of time. Yeah, no, I can't find him. Fuck me.
It's all right, man. He's probably not important. uh, but uh, but yeah, I guess that's it for me about like Dynamite and stuff talk. I'm actually happy that I was able to participate. I feel good. I feel good. I think this is nice. Is there anything you want to add before we move on to SmackDown?
Yeah, actually, I don't know if you saw ratings, but JAS fucking tanked him.
God, fuck that faction, bro. I did see that image though in the Discord when you posted it. Yeah, that was. I took a little bit too much satisfaction in that revelation. To be quite honest with you, I'm like, yeah, out them as the failures they are. Oh God,
Yeah.
fuck them. But yeah, SmackDown. Braun and Ricochet win the tag tournament. Isn't that great? I really thought they were gonna start pushing Imperium harder after Gunther's fucking performance, that stallion going to the very end. But no, we're gonna go with the giant and the high flying short guy. Um, and so yeah, they're gonna face the Usos next week. I've already said in Discord, Mark's kind of echoed similar sentiments. I don't think Jay's gonna show up next week. I think Solo's gonna substitute for Jay. As gonna be Solo and Jimmy, given that they've kind of been putting the beat down on Sammy lately together, and they're gonna put down the beat down on the two cue balls here, and
Trench!
Strowman and
The
Ricochet.
dude's name is Trench.
Oh my God. So yeah, I feel like it's gonna be Solo and Jimmy against Braun and Ricochet, and Ricochet's probably eating the pin after Samoan Spike. So after that, we know Natalia qualified for the Chamber. Isn't that great? God, I mean, it's not like Shayna Baszler was also in that four-way,
And Shotzi, too.
and Shotzi too. What like Nepo mania, Nepo fucking mania. It's Jesus Christ.
Why am I getting Glitch in the Matrix deja vu vibes?
Okay, you're gonna need to elaborate. Do you feel like we've been here before, like
Yeah,
with Natty and
I feel like
Chamber?
Nepomania is a term that we've used a lot in the past.
I feel like I've only been using it recently. I know I used it a little while ago where it's gonna be Nepomania when Cody wins the Rumble, like before Rumble. I don't know if we've used Nepomania prior to that. If we have, I
Really?
mean, it's
I
still
feel like we
fitting.
I feel like we had to have, but
Well,
maybe
well,
not.
if we have, it's still relevant. If we haven't, it's relevant. So either way, yeah. Because I mean, look at it. Fucking hell. Yeah. So Natalia qualifies. Sonya lost to Charlotte. That shocked everybody. I'm fucking sure. Nobody saw that coming. Um, God, really, I just want to talk about the one really amazing thing that happened, and that was Roman's segment and Sammy and all that. But I just want to see what else had went on. Let's see here. Oh my God, both segments that they broke down from Roman and Sammy have over 1 million views. Sammy attacking Roman has 1.4, and then Roman accepting the challenge has 1 million right now. Amazing.
Also, yeah,
So
I think Mark is onto something here. Natty's probably going to be in the chamber because the chamber's in Montreal.
that's true. That's yeah. I think Caster Sales said said something similar here. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was Caster, not Mark. Mark said retire, Natty, please.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah.
I do agree with Mark though, for sure.
And apparently I didn't see this part because I must have been focused on Discord because I know we did kind of unique games. Sheamus and McIntyre are still teaming. I thought Sheamus teased on Twitter that the Banger Bros were no longer going to team up. But they apparently started beef with the Viking Raiders. Cool, I guess.
The Viking Raiders actually won a match last night. I know that.
Yeah, they did. Who was it against again?
I don't remember.
Oh, the Brawling Brutes. The Brawling Brutes it was.
Oh,
it was,
yeah. It was fucking Ridge and Butch.
Yeah. Fucking Rey Mysterio beat Dominic in fucking car racing on the track. God.
Yeah,
Pray wore a
because
helmet
Rey
over
is
his
not
mask.
willing to actually step into the ring with his son because he's a fucking coward.
Yeah, exactly. God damn. And then Roman and fucking Sammy. I already kind of talked about the Roman promo at the start when we were talking about Rumble and everything. Sammy attacking Roman got a huge pop. Him spearing Roman when Roman retook control of the brawl and was going to hit Sammy with a chair. That spear looked awesome. Better than I thought a guy like Sammy could pull off, quite honestly. He grabs the chair. He goes to hit Roman. And credit to Roman again. He sold the shit out of the fear of like, oh my God, he almost got me with that. Yeah. Oh my God, Sammy doesn't worship me anymore. Like, this is Sami Zayn. This isn't Sammy the follower or Sammy the conspiracy theorist. This is Sami fucking Zayn. That's horrifying to me. So Reigns sold the fear really well, especially because, again, I even said on Twitter that I think it was like last year at some point, or maybe even late 2021. I don't know. Again, I reiterate to everyone, COVID, sense time, fucked up. When Sammy, as the conspiracy theorist, won a battle royal to challenge Roman, but then Brock Lesnar attacked him, brutalized him, and then he was easy pickings for Roman. But then, like, after the battle royal, before all that happened with the assault with Brock, the whole bloodline was laughing at Sammy except Roman. Roman only joined in the laughter a few seconds later when he knew it was okay to laugh. So I love the little nuances to the Roman character. He has fucking killed this character. Just straight up. But I love that now nobody should be laughing because this is a very incensed, very motivated Sammy. I loved what he said on the mic. He said, "You're wrong about me. I never wanted anything from you. I never wanted anything from you until now. And what I want, I'm coming for you, and I'm coming for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship." Love the fire, love the crowd pop. Everything was so good. Then, obviously, bloodline assault. And then, like we said, Sammy's in a compromised position. I love that Roman stopped Solo. Because if that's not a show of power, like, you could have been destroyed. I saved you. I can do whatever I want to you right now. Takes the chair off Sammy's neck, which I thought was a great touch. Gets in Sammy's face and then says the whole thing, ad-libbing about, they want Jay, but I don't have Jay because you broke up my family. I'll give you what you want, but you're going to give me what I want because I want you in Montreal, because I want to break you in front of your family, in front of your friends, in front of your wife, in front of your child. Like, he got personal there. Now, here's the thing. Chamber is the 18th. We've only got 2 weeks already before that show, but if anybody can make this shit pop off in 2 weeks, especially because, let's be honest, the build's been going on a lot longer than 2 weeks, to this feud's credit. Sammy and Roman. And the one thing I need, now this was something I was thinking about before the show today, and I'm glad I remembered it because I almost forgot it, just because, again, I felt really cozy in this TWitWoW review today. I need Roman, and he's done great work. This is not a criticism. This is more of a wish list thing. I need Roman to go a bit deeper on the mic before Chamber, because on SmackDown, he tried to brush it off. He even tried to be like, oh, I knew the whole time. You know what I saw in Sammy's eyes at War Games? Greed. No, Roman. No. We don't get away that easily. Because what I saw at Rumble was a fucking unhinged man burying his face in his hands after being hit with a chair, and then screaming in Sammy's face as he's being bludgeoned, "You put a knife in my back. You put a knife in my back. I gave you the world, and this is how you repay me." I need that Roman to show up on the mic at least once before Chamber, because to act like Sammy doesn't have at least, not even necessarily a condo, but at least some kind of living space in your head right now is completely disingenuous, which is fine if that's the angle you want to go with. He's a good enough heel that he could pull that off. But Roman has so many more layers than your average heel. I need him to peel that back a bit and show the raw pain that Sammy caused. And now, in return, the pain that Roman is going to cause Sammy. Likewise, I need a promo from Sammy talking about his whole recent history leading up to this, from conspiracy theorist to Johnny Knoxville to finding Sami Zayn again. Because I love the T-shirt that it's like the honorary Us font with Sami Zayn, but it said Sammy Uso, but the tape over it says Zayn. I need him to talk about finding Sami Zayn again. So I need two particular kinds of promos from both these guys for Chamber if you want to put me over the moon with this. And if you don't, that's fine. I'm already revved the fuck up. But if you want me to be like, how many sleeps until Chamber? That would be a great little bit of garnish on the plate. Just those two kinds of promos from both sides. How are you feeling about the build up to this? Is there anything you're personally wanting from either guy or just the program in general before we completely shift to Roman Cody? What are your thoughts, man?
I mean, I think you pretty much hit the nail on the head, man. Yeah, I actually looked it up, and the Rumble or the Battle Royal for the Universal Championship contendership was November 26th, 2021. The one that Sammy won. It was a Black Friday number one contendership battle royal. And yeah, Sammy won that and then lost to Roman in 15 seconds the following Friday. And then 2 weeks later, he won a number one contendership 12 Days of Christmas gauntlet. And I don't think he ever got a title shot after that. But that, oh no, actually that was for the Intercontinental title. That was for the Intercontinental title. So he did get a title shot after that. That was when he beat Nakamura for the IC title and then lost it just a few weeks later to Ricochet. That's what that whole thing was.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, he briefly had that little tiny flirtation with the Universal title. Do you remember him losing to Roman in 15 seconds and what the context behind that was?
Well, yeah, because that was the Brock Lesnar assault. That was the Brock Lesnar assault. And then after Brock laid him out, Roman comes out, slaps the guillotine on Sammy, and that's fucking it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was like that whole Universal title shot that he got after that Black Friday Battle Royal, to your point.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm so fucking happy they're going to run it back and it's going to be an actual match. Sammy's the babyface, and oh my God, this is going to be fucking fire. This is going to be so good.
Yeah.
But yeah. No Kevin Owens either. So they really sold the beatdown on Kevin Owens, which they should have.
I like that Kevin wasn't there, and I like that Jay wasn't there. I really like that. I don't think we should get Jay until Chamber, and Kevin should definitely show up before Chamber, but maybe just the week before Chamber.
Yeah, yeah, we'll see, man. We'll see. But yeah, SmackDown, at least for the main event angle, good fucking shit. Good fucking shit, guys. I mean, I'm not going to shit on Roman Cody because, again, Cody clearly is doing something. But I hope that it's everything WWE wants. I hope it's everything fans want, because I could stay in this for so much longer than what they're going to give us. This has been fantastic. With that said, we can get on to our next segment. We really covered a lot this week. This is a great episode on that front. Did you do any extracurricular watching this week?
Just a little bit. I did watch an Actress Girls match. Genuinely couldn't even name everyone in it. I really just watched it because it was a Koki match, and I've been getting into her. I do know that one of her opponents was Madi, and she was great. She's actually got like a ninja gimmick. She was also one of the women that was interviewed by the Joshi Pod, like the podcast that interviewed Maria that one time that did
yes.
kind of exposed to us the golden giggle that's so great.
Yes,
she's really cool. I like her. She has like a ninja gimmick. I kind of feel bad for her though, because I think that she covers her face because she has a birthmark that she's like shy about.
Interesting.
Because there are pictures like she's posted on social media and stuff with her face uncovered, so it's not like she's like a Starlight Kid where she's like a masked wrestler. But yeah, she does cover her face most of the time in public, and you could see on her like Instagram pictures and stuff that she has like a really prominent birthmark on one of her cheeks. And I'm like, oh, I hope she's not like, insecure about that because like, she's still super cute and everything. Yeah, but yeah, she's really good, man. She's really good, and obviously, yeah, Koki's fucking great. I watched something else this week, a little extracurricular. Oh, I did watch another Maria match this week as well. She teamed. Oh God, who did she team with? I don't remember who she teamed with, but I know that she and her partner faced the team of Hiroyo Matsumoto. And do you remember Aisha Raymond from I think the first Mae Young Classic?
No.
Okay, big like 6 foot tall black woman.
Yeah, still
Um,
not ringing any bells for
I
me.
think if I remember correctly, in that first Mae Young Classic, she had like cat makeup on, like she had like the black makeup on the tip of her nose and the whiskers painted on her face.
Yeah, I'm not registering, honestly.
Well, she goes by Amazon now, and she's working Japan. And she's a great foil to the smaller Japanese girls because of how big she is. And she's able to just be that giant monster, the giant American monster, and it works out really well. So it was a tag match, and obviously she's fucking teaming with Matsumoto. Like, Hiroyo Matsumoto is a beast too. Um,
Yes.
Let me see if I can find out who Maria's partner was because I don't remember. Um, it was Owie. It was fucking Owie. That's who it was. It was Maria and Owie versus Amazon and Mihiru Matsumoto. That was a fun little match. I really just wanted to get my fix of Maria after the Golden Giggle, cooking stream with Iroha that we watched or that I watched last weekend. So that was cool. But that's all of the extracurricular. I did watch the clip of Hogan's first trip into the Dungeon of Doom, and it was fucking hilarious.
Nice.
He slides down in. There's no Hulkamaniacs here.
Yeah, oh my god.
Second line. I've never been here before. And then he does the fucking fountain thing. Ah, it's not hot.
God damn.
It's so bad, dude.
So so you guys know from 5v5s that I did some extracurricular watching of Joe Hendry in Impact.
Yeah.
The best thing in that fucking trailer park promotion.
No, I
Um
disagree with that for sure. Chris Bay, Moose, there's a lot of good. They just don't use any of it.
well, let me qualify my statement then. The best thing that's actually being utilized in that trailer park promotion, because I wouldn't say that Chris Bay for all his talent is being properly utilized. Um but I also saw something else, and I'm like, fucking really, Impact? Trey Miguel, who apparently is a heel right now, and the X Division champion, defended his title against Mike Jackson. Who's Mike Jackson, you ask? A fucking old time wrestler, and he came into this match at 73 years old, and
Ow.
doesn't work like a Suzuki. That's for fucking sure.
Does he work like a
Um,
Fujita?
Nope. Very, very, very bland. I think only like a few wrist locks, a few right hands. To his credit, still took some bumps that I didn't expect him to take. But yeah, I'm like, oh, so we're just having Trey Miguel as a heel, kind of picking on the easiest fucking people to pick on. And apparently this is because Mike Jackson, I guess the week prior, was like, oh, you don't have any respect for the X Division or that X Division championship. I'm going to teach you respect, that kind of thing. And of course, the boomer gets shut down. Um, I really, yeah, it's funny. It's funny because, like, I know when we talk about the world of wrestling, Impact, whether we like it or not, is a part of the wrestling world. And I would like to keep tabs on it just to be able to talk about a little something. But, like, God, God, it's so uninteresting. Oh, and then this is an older clip, but again, when we do extracurricular, that could be from any year, anytime. I saw fucking Santino's debut in Impact as the director of Authority, and I'm like, why? God, it's so
I
bad.
mean, bro, you're the one that called it a trailer park promotion. Once you nail the fucking target on the fucking bullseye, you don't need to keep questioning why.
Yeah, no, dude, it really is. It really is. Like, and it's such a shame because honestly, for me, it's bad when you're in an era that makes me fondly remember the main event mafia. Like, Jesus fucking Christ. So yeah, that's all the extracurricular I did because I hate myself and I didn't think to watch anything good. Joe Hendry was good. Joe Hendry was good. And Chris Bay was good. And Ace Austin. But like, again, Ace Austin and Chris Bay, I don't really want them as a tag team. I want Chris Bay as a singles guy. Why he isn't going after world titles, I don't understand. And Ace Austin, I know he's a former X Division champion. I'll run that shit back. Fuck. And then Joe Hendry, to be honest, I think he's probably in a good spot right now, to be fair. But like, goddamn, if you started pushing that guy as a main eventer relative to Impact, that's not even a sell to me. I believe that immediately.
Yeah.
It's just the company's in a very weird place, especially when now, I didn't see any of that this week, so I don't even know what's going on with that. But it wasn't that long ago you were putting fucking Tommy Dreamer and Bully Ray at the forefront of my fucking TV, which fuck you, just fuck you. But yeah, that's pretty much all I did there. So yeah, I guess with that we can open this up for Q&A. Should be a very interesting Q&A this week about this week in the world of wrestling. So guys, any questions you have, let's open up the fucking forum about this week in the world of wrestling. So what do you got?
So Caster Sales, I can already see, asked if I've never liked MJF or if this was a later development, and if it was a later development, what caused it. I don't know, John. Was I ever really into MJF? Because you've been with me the whole time.
I don't think you were ever like, I don't think you personally were ever with MJF. I just think you were excited for a time because you thought I would really like him because he was the kind of heel that I like, at least to start.
Yeah.
But I don't think
You know
you
what?
ever
I will
vibed
say,
with him
I
personally. I
do
think you're more
remember
excited for me.
liking MJF on one of our requests before he went to AEW. I think it was an OTT show. It might have been a Rev Pro show. It must have been a Rev Pro show or something. Just because of the fucking rope hung pile driver that he did, that blew my mind. I was like, holy shit, that's insane.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. Hear Me Roar asks, "Are you guys done with NXT, bro? We've been done.
For the better
We
part of
haven't
the
really.
last year, actually, we stopped watching NXT completely after the last WrestleMania because Dolph Ziggler fucking retained the NXT title on the NXT premium live event before WrestleMania last year.
Yeah. So I know Vengeance Day has been in progress. We've been kind of getting results in the chat. We know we have new NXT Women's Tag Champions. Um, we have new NXT Tag Team Champions. New Day didn't last long with that reign at all. Gallus apparently won the titles. Curious what'll happen with the women's title, though I'm expecting Roxanne to retain, and I'm fully expecting Grayson Waller to win the NXT title.
Yeah.
Although I will say, kudos to NXT. They tweeted out that the cage match can only be won by pinfall or submission. Escape is not an option. So that was pretty cool, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any other questions, guys?
I saw a question earlier that I wanted to answer, but I also didn't want to interrupt our flow. So let me see if I can find that again. Where is it? Well, Caster did ask earlier if Jade is a heel, why was she with her daughter? And I do
Yeah.
kind of agree with that question. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's a situation where she's not necessarily just supposed to be like a black and white heel, and she's more meant to be like a heel-ish character, but three-dimensional kind of thing.
Yeah. See, dude, that's why I didn't even really want to go too deep into that because I felt like I was coming off too much like a Cornette when I was thinking about it before the show, and I didn't want to bring Cornette energy into the show. But like at the same time, I'm like, I don't know. This just kind of reeks of laziness to AEW for me because you deliberately do kind of a heelish trope where it's like, oh, they're beat, but the referee's down and they don't know it, and like all that stuff. But then you have her leave with her daughter like it was some kind of triumphant emotional victory. It's like you can't have everything AEW. You've got to like, you know what I mean? You've got to just, I don't know, commit or something. And that's coming from somebody I like Jade. Javara said something upset her daughter to the point where she started crying, so Jade took her to the back. Aw. Well, I don't know what it was or who it was, but Hope that all worked out. But yeah, any other questions, guys?
Yes. Any other?
Because I mean, it was a big week in the world of wrestling. We talked about so much this week. I feel really good about this.
Yeah, man. We had a really comprehensive show here today.
What's funny is it feels like we've gone 3 hours just in terms of like the depth of conversation, but it's actually only been close to 2.
As far as this women's match, this NXT Women's Championship match that you were just kind of talking about, you expect Roxanne to retain, and Hear Me Roar said Gigi Dolan should win. I think this might just be the sort of vehicle that they use to split up the last two remaining women from Toxic Attraction. This is the wedge. This is the match where the wedge gets driven between them, because one of them is going to have the match won and the other one's going to pull her off, and they're going to get at each other and they're going to hate each other from that on.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's also going to be what allows Roxanne to retain.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, we should emphasize that questions are just related to this week in the world of wrestling. Yes, Hear Me Roar, we're watching it and we're reacting to it. Probably going to react to the whole show the way it's looking. I don't really see any reason to like skip any part of the show. Definitely going to want to react to Sammy Roman, of course. And the 2 chamber matches should be fun.
Yep.
So, yeah.
I wonder what else is even going to be on that card. God. Almost scared.
Yeah, I do have to wonder. Yeah, me too. I gotta wonder what Bray Wyatt's gonna do on that fucking card, if anything.
What do you think of Samoa Joe beating Darby for the TNT Championship? Thank you, Caster, so much for that question, because I am just that much more pissed that Darby ever won it in the first place. They literally only had Darby win it to pop the fucking Washington crowd, and that pisses me off. Fuck you, Tony.
Actually, I apologize to everybody. I should have thought to mention that when we were doing our AEW recap. I'm sorry. But yeah, we're talking about it now. And yeah, what Ashton said. I am happy for Joe, but fuck Darby Allin. That's really all I have to say about that, quite honestly.
Javaris wants to know if we're going to watch Suzu versus Julia again. Not unless Stardom makes the match happen again. No, we're not going to rewatch the match.
No, one time was good enough for me, and it was just that excellent. And even matches that I really like, I don't often go back and rewatch. Maybe it's just because I really like, we do so much wrestling stuff.
Hear Me Roar doesn't seem to get the concept of this week in the world of wrestling, but I'm going to answer him anyway. He said, how great does the WrestleMania projected card look to you? Fucking mid, unfortunately.
It doesn't, dude, honestly,
it doesn't look very good at all.
Dude, God, this just shows you how broken I am. You gave a perfectly fine answer, but I thought you were gonna be like, fucking no, because that's what I was thinking mentally. Just reject the premise of the question outright. No. So I'll do it. But yeah, no, again, questions confined to what happened this week in the world of wrestling. If anybody has anything else, that's why Caster Sales asked a perfect question, because Joe did beat Darby this week. And that was just something.
And we didn't talk about that. That's what this is really for. Yeah. Is like, what did we not already talk about?
That's okay. Hear Me Roar. We do a Q&A. We're now doing quarterly Q&As. Our next Q&A, I think, is like what, March 20? Is it 26th actually?
I think so. Yeah, I think you nailed that.
No, it's March 30th. It's March 30th.
What the fuck?
I was thinking 26 because Cinderella tournament, but no. Yeah.
March 30th. Yeah, that's gonna be fun. I hope that show is early enough that we can watch it live.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, Hear Me Roar. We do. We're now doing quarterly Q&As. Non-Patreon donors get like 10.
And here's the thing too.
Q&A questions.
Because that show is March 30th. That Q&A is before WrestleMania. So if you want to ask us what we think of what the WrestleMania card looks like, you can literally still ask us on that show, and it's still relevant even then.
Yeah, 10 questions for non-Patreon owners, and if you want to donate to the Patreon, even just for extra Q&A questions, it's only $1, and then you can get like 15 questions. So, because the old model used to be like per month we would do Q&As, and it would be 3 for non-Patreon donors, 5 for donors. So we figured because it's quarterly, it kind of accumulates. So yeah, Hear Me Roar. If you want to partake in a Q&A, we'd be more than happy to have you. It's just, yeah, we try and confine this to this week in the world of wrestling. And nobody's really said anything since then, and they knew that the forum was open, so I'm going to guess that we don't have any more questions. So let's move on to Abel's favorite segment, and he's not here, and that makes me sad.
Oh,
high spots and low shots. God, dude, this was such an eventful fucking week. You know what? As weird as it is to say, I'm going to say my low shot, Sami Zayn. Got the shit beat out of him. And yes, he's getting a undisputed Universal Championship match, but he also ended SmackDown with the shit beat out of him again. So it was a really rough week for Sammy. And so I'm going to say Sammy's my low shot, even given what he gained out of it.
Let's see. Low shot, low shot, low shot. You know what? I'm gonna have fun with this. My low shot is Mayu Iwatani, who came up with the 91 roulette concept and lost because of a TLD. She got the fuck beat out of her by Tam Nakano and didn't win anyway.
Great choice. Great choice. High spot. This is where it gets interesting just because of the week in wrestling that we've had.
I have a good one. I want to go first.
You go first then, friend.
Saki Kashima. She won the 91 roulette and is finally challenging for the high speed title again after 3 years.
Awesome. I love that. You know what? I'm going to take the low-hanging fruit, but I'm going to take the low-hanging fruit that makes me smile. Rhea Ripley won the Royal Rumble from number 1.
Yeah.
Is going on to WrestleMania. Hopefully she beats Charlotte. So we're going to celebrate the women in our high spot today. They both won gauntlet-style matches in a way. I know with Rhea it's more of a battle royal, but with each person coming out at certain intervals, it has a gauntlet-type feel. And yeah, so Kashima and Rhea rule the week. Good shit. And I guess that's oh, well, actually, wait. Hear Me Roar does have a question about this week. I guess we'll permit it, even though we did close it, just because he did say he was bad at this, and this question does fit. My question for this week is: Seth Rollins has been taking jabs at Logan Paul, and do you think it is all work, or do you think he genuinely does not like him? I do not like him. No, I think it's a work. Even if Seth doesn't like him, he wouldn't let that interfere with good business, and I 100% think that Seth is going to face Logan at WrestleMania. So Seth and Logan are doing all the promoting they can now.
Mm-hmm.
So you have a good groundwork for Mania. And if he doesn't like him, he's smart enough and he's enough of a company guy to keep that private and not let that interfere with the quality of the product. Abel's here! That was the appropriate response. My high spot is TWitWoW for being amazing with their live reactions at Royal Rumble. You're amazing at life, Abel. 360 fucking 5, bitch. God damn. Again, the appropriate pop. So yeah, hear me roar. That's what we think about that. I don't like Logan Paul either. I don't really think any of us like him as a person. We can respect though that he does get it done in the ring and he has a surprising aptitude for this. So him and Seth should be solid. Yeah, I guess with that said, anything else you want to say, bud?
No.
Well, this has been the week in the world of wrestling. This has been TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John. That's my cohort and commentary. And guys, be sure to like the video as you file out. Click the bell icon, subscribe so you don't miss any of that TWitWoW goodness. Check out everything we're involved in the description box. Follow us on Twitter and Twitch because we are the best wrestling podcast in all the IWC. Now, we are off Sunday. Everybody gets to, kind of rest tomorrow, be cool. And then I know, Ashton, you're going to have to get a new schedule up. But what is next week looking like? Isn't next week looking like pretty bare bones because we were able to do Stardom Supreme Fight live?
Yeah, dude, unless you can think of something, I literally don't have any plans for us to do anything until next Saturday, and even that is tentative.
Yes, because I'll be recovering from oral surgery. In fact, I'll even just say this now. We'll see if we do TWitWoW and review next Saturday, guys. But if we don't, apologies. My health comes first. And I really had to take care of this tooth thing. And I'll be in recovery after getting 5 teeth extracted on my left side. So, not going to be pretty. I should get my voice back in time, though, for the other big recordings we've got, like, deeper in February. But yeah, that week we might just not be doing anything. So, really, we may not be seeing you guys again until, like, the week of the 12th. And, 12th
Yes,
onward.
and our first recording that week would be on the 15th, actually.
So yeah, I'm just gonna say tentatively. Now, if I feel good enough, which I highly doubt, I cannot stress that enough. I don't want to give anybody any false expectations. If I'm feeling good enough, next recording would be February 11th. Which would be again TWitWoW and review. If not, though, you said the 15th, right, Ashton? Wednesday the 15th.
Wednesday the 15th, correct? Would be it would be a Stardom show, yeah.
It would be a Stardom show. So Wednesday the 15th. That's what I'm thinking, guys. In the meantime, though, if you are a part of the Discord, which if you check our Patreon link below, you'll see that that's only $3 a month to join the Discord. We do game nights Mondays and Fridays. We had a fun little game night Friday. We did a little something different. It was pretty much a memory game about WWE history, particularly with the Royal Rumble and Elimination Chamber. Fun times, fun times. So, yeah, that would be the only thing. But content-wise, either next Saturday if I'm feeling up to it, or it's just going to be 15th, freaking Wednesday, which I'll definitely feel better enough by then because it'll almost be a full week removed from my surgery. So, whatever the case is, we'll keep you guys updated. We know we're very good about doing that on Twitter and other platforms. Until then, guys, enjoy the time off. Breathe it all in. We're on the road to WrestleMania. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Tune in. Peace out.